presents college football.
You may not recognize them, but there's a new powerhouse emerging in college football. And in West Virginia, fans will tell you this is the strongest Mountaineer team ever. They are led by explosive quarterback Major Harris and a defense that has held off every opponent this year. Ranked number 7 and undefeated, the Mountaineers are brimming with pride and confidence for the biggest game they've ever played. Whenever Penn State played West Virginia, they almost seemed destined to win. In fact, they've beaten the Mountaineers 30 of the last 32 times. But the Nittany Lions are suffering through an agonizing year, enduring injury and inexperience. They are frustrated, but they're not about to give anything away, especially to West Virginia. One of the great grudge matches is about to continue. Penn State battles undefeated West Virginia today on CBS. And today they all lead to Morgantown, West Virginia. You know, folks here in West Virginia, they believe in God, country, family, and Mountaineer football. And today, not necessarily in that order. This is the big one. Come on across the Star City Bridge and on up the hill. If you're lucky, you hold one of the 65,079 tickets for West Virginia football. This is the happening in this state. The student body began arriving here some 3 hours ago. They will break the all-time attendance record for this confrontation between West Virginia and their arch rival, Penn State. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I'm Brent Musburger. Indeed, it is a happening in this state. I'll tell you, nothing bonds the state of West Virginia quite like Mountaineer football, and never in the history of this school have they began a season 8-0, and yet they can do it. They're 7-0 right now. They're ranked number 7. Yes, they've got a chance to win a national championship. They may get to the Orange Bowl, take on Oklahoma, Nebraska. They may get to the Fiesta Bowl, take on Notre Dame. They don't care, just as long as they get there. Now, some of you may have a stereotype, you know, a feeling about a West Virginia football fan. Well, it ain't necessarily so. Take a listen to offensive lineman Kevin Koken.
You come here on a Saturday, and I guarantee everybody in the stadium is going to have shoes on, and they're all going to be able to talk, and none of them are going to be limping, as everybody says they will. It's really special. The people in West Virginia are really special. They're, you know, in all the places that I've traveled to and everything, they're the friendliest people, and they're, you know, the warmest and the most understanding. They want us to be good as much as we want the state to be good.
And as far as we can tell, everybody in the band is indeed wearing shoes. All right, Pat Hayden. So we've got West Virginia against their arch rival, Penn State. Through the years, Penn State has just beaten them like a drum. But let's start with this West Virginia team. Folks don't know them. How good are they?
Well, they're ranked number 7, and they're a very, very special team. This year's Cinderella team, if you will. And I think they're special because they're very well coached by Don Nealon. And secondly, as trite as it sounds, these guys really care about one another. They played next to each other for 4 years or so. And also, I think the biggest reason is their sensational quarterback, Major Harris. This guy has a big-time arm, can throw the ball downfield with great accuracy, can run the option play, and Brent, most importantly, his teammates love to play for him. He is a major talent.
But nobody in this state is overconfident. Through the years, Joe Paterno has won 21 of the 22 games he has coached against West Virginia. Yet the Nittany Lions are down right now.
They are struggling, and primarily on offense. We saw them last week against Alabama. 0 for 14 on 3rd down. That is remarkable. But offense starts with line line play. They are led by Steve Wisniewski, the offensive guard who's the All-American. And this is ordinarily a strength of Penn State, that offensive line. And today, they have to find a way to create some creases for that running game and protect the freshman quarterback, Tony Sackett.
You know, for years, Penn State has dominated Eastern football. But last year it was Syracuse. This year it could be West Virginia, the new beast of the East. Let's check in now with Jim Nance and Aaron Parsegan. Aaron?
All right, thank you very much, Brent. I'd like to extend a welcome back to the studio to the coach. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Jim. I'm delighted to be back, particularly with so many great college games to be played in the next 5 weeks.
Bowls to be decided. We'll talk about that at halftime. But right now, here's what's happening. Notre Dame, second ranked in the country, leading Navy, 9 minutes left. But the Middies are driving. They're at the 39-yard line of the Fighting Irish. LSU and Mississippi. Ole Miss has just scored minutes ago to cut that 10-point deficit down to 3. Now, in the second quarter, Tommy Hodson trailing 7-3, fired across the middle to Eddie Fuller, 39-yard touchdown. That's put him up at that point 10-7, but it's now a 3-point lead, 17-14 in the third quarter. Bobby McAllister has just taken it in from a yard out. Michigan State leads Ohio State by 10 in the third. Okay, Coach, your thoughts now on Penn State and West Virginia, with Penn State a big underdog today.
Yeah, they are. The Mountaineers are heavy favorites, no question about it, in this ball game. But if I was a West Virginia fan, I'd be doggone nervous. They've gone against Joe Paterno 22 times and have won once. And the schedule that they've played has been a bit suspect. Of the 7 opponents that they played against, they only show 18 wins. So don't count Joe Paterno's team out of this. This is going to be closer than a lot of people think.
All right, there you have it. Coach and I will be back here at halftime, of course, scores and highlights. But right now, we're getting set for the Nittany Lions and the Mountaineers. We'll rejoin Brett and Pat down in Morgantown after this message and a word from your local station.
The glorious mountains of West Virginia. What a slice of Americana. And everybody in the state now either crammed inside this beautiful little arena or watching somewhere on television as their beloved Mountaineers get ready to take on Joe Paterno and Penn State. Nittany Lions, having lost their last 2 games to Syracuse and Alabama, trying to avoid their first losing record in the last half-century. Joe Paterno has never had a losing mark in his great career at Penn State. John, what a happening we've got here. Let's go down to John Docker.
And Brent, we certainly have got over 65,000 people here at this party, and that makes this arena the second largest population center in West Virginia, second only to Charleston, and that's close. Then consider that no student is ever denied admission to a game, so that's another 3,000 or 4,000 standing, all with one thing on their mind: white hats and black shoes.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from Mountaineer Field in Morgantown, West Virginia. It's the Penn State Nittany Lions versus the West.
Football, it is perfect here in Morgantown, West Virginia. And the Mountaineers are not messing around. They won the toss. They did not defer. They said, we'll take the ball. And Penn State will kick it off with Henry Atkins putting the ball on the tee at the 35-yard line, and Eugene Napoleon standing back there on his own goal line for West Virginia, number 33. Napoleon fumbles it, picks it up at the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, out to the 43. Eddie Johnson finally brings him down after a 38-yard return as that fumble momentarily fooled the kickoff team for Penn State. Major Harris now, the brilliant young quarterback for West Virginia. Craig Taylor and Anthony Lown will be the running backs. Calvin Phillips and Reggie Rimber, the wide men, and Keith Wynn. They'll throw to the tight end. The strength of the offense could well be the offensive line as Harris brings them to the line. On first down, incomplete, wanting Wynn, the tight end, but Harris overthrew him. Meet this offensive line. Kevin Koken, he's the center. The guards, Bob Kovac and John Stroya. The tackles, Brian Smiter and Rick Phillips. We're talking about 300, 270, 270, 270, 270. That's their weights. 2nd and 10 for Harris and the Mountaineers. Rimber, the man in motion. Harris, a great option runner, keeps it, crosses midfield to the 45. First down at the Penn State 40-yard line before he is run out of bounds by Sherrod Range, number 36, a gain of 18.
Brent, what makes this team so difficult to defend is they can run the option play led by the offensive line. They can throw the football downfield, and they can run power. And they're not afraid to have Major Harris carry the ball in the option. Unlike most teams, they like him because he's a powerful back, can break tackles.
West Virginia with a 1st and 10 at the Nittany Lion 39. And the toss to Brown, 28 behind the left side. Crashes to the 31-yard line.
Number 28, A.B. Brown.
Dave's out the nose man for the Penn State defense. Rich Schoenwolf and Frank Giannetti alongside him. Andre Collins and Scott Gobb. The linebackers at linebacker U and Quintus McDonald and Keith Karpinski. Eddie Johnson is down and injured. Number 39 for Penn State. He's one of their safety men. Now down, was shaken up on the play.
And they need Eddie Johnson today. He played superbly last week against Alabama, a converted cornerback who's just beginning to feel comfortable at free safety. Here he is making a tackle. He was also the one who made the saving tackle on the kickoff routine by Napoleon. Had a big game a week ago, and they need his physical play at free safety. Was our player of the game on defense last week for Penn State.
Paterno stalking the sideline. Chris Cesar, number 48, checks in, and he hasn't been out there for one play, and he's already bleeding a little bit, probably from the kickoff when he came downfield on the special teams. Major Harris now brings West Virginia to the line. 2nd and short. Taylor is the power back, number 20. Brown's right behind Taylor for another West Virginia first down near the 25.
And what we've seen West Virginia do on this first drive, which gives you a chance to see why they're so difficult to defend, as we watch this offensive line come off the line of scrimmage. Again, terrific surge by Kovac, the guard, Koken, the center, but we've seen them run power football. They threw the ball on first down, and they've also run the option play. 3 different types of offenses.
Grantis Bell and Calvin Phillips, the wide receivers, on this 1st and 10. Harris on a busted play, freelances it, 20, 15, cuts 5, touchdown West Virginia! The Magician did it! Something out of nothing here in Morgantown. Charlie Bauman to attempt the extra point with Chuck Levinus holding. Perfect.
You know, Brent, I'd like to give some credit to some offensive linemen and blocks, but there really weren't any on that one. This was all Major Harris. He was supposed to go to his left, but there is no substitute for athletic ability, and he's got an awful lot of it. Made 3 guys miss, and you see why the coaches like to see him carry the ball.
7-0 Mountaineers. We'll be right back. much does this game mean to West Virginia? Here's what Major Harris told us.
Well, I think it means a lot to our program because I think, this is going to be in front of the whole nation, and I think, a lot of people want to know what we got. And I think if we can go out there and beat Penn State, I think we could show the country that we got a pretty good team down in Morgantown.
A 27-yard touchdown run from the second-year quarterback out of the Pittsburgh area. 6'1", 207 pounds. He grew up a basketball player, but his high school coach saw him as a point guard and said, if he can bring that to my football team, I'll have a great high school football team. And now Major Harris looming as a big-time star here in West Virginia. Brad Carroll, number 19, will kick it off. Brown and O.J. McDuffie, the two deep men. That's Brown, 20, 25, 30, out to the 32-yard line. The Penn State offense, the freshman, 19, Tony Sackett quarterback. His running backs, John Green and Gary Brown, the wide men, and they hope to get the ball in Michael Timpson's hands today. David Jacob, the starting tight end. Roger Duffy's the center. Monahan, Wisniewski the guards. Jonathan, Brubaker, the starting tackles. They split the running backs. Saka on first down to Gary Brown. Brown is stacked up by the middle of that Mountaineer defense. The defense for West Virginia. Gray is in the middle. Chris Parker and Mike Fox alongside him. Chris Herring, the leading tackler. Theron Ellis and the outside men, Ronaldo Turnbull. Keep an eye on him. And Robert Pickett. Now Sean Redmond in at fullback as you see the defensive backfield of the Mountaineers. Second and 8. Out to the 36-yard line before Chris Parker, 94, brings him down.
Chris Brown right here is going to make a real nice play inside. He's a guy who's 6'5", 280. Look how he uses his hands. Gets great leverage, gets underneath the shoulder pads of the offensive lineman, and makes the stop.
Now a slot formation for Paterno on third and long. The tight end adjusts to the left side. This is Brown, turns it up, 40, 45, first down for Penn State. And does that break the schneid they've been on? Penn State was unable to convert one single third down into a first down against Bill Curry's Alabama defense a week ago. Here, they hit their first one. First and 10, all at the 45-yard line for Saka. Redmond is 22 in front of Brown. Saka to throw, far side overthrew the intended receiver and out of bounds that time as Terry Smith, number 8, was the wide man.
You know, Brent, one of the reasons they didn't move the ball on third down was because they got terrible field position last week. Look what happened to them in the second half in particular, never crossing the 50-yard line. Some of that was very good defense by Alabama, but they couldn't generate anything on first down.
Second and 10 for Penn State. Timpson into the game. He split out wide. World-class speed, number 5. They pitch it. Brown bobbles it on the carpet. West Virginia recovers. Lawrence Drumgool, number 25, recovers the fumble.
Gary Brown bobbled the pitch from the very beginning. I think he saw the quick penetration by Drumgool. The strong safety was up on a quick blitz. Took his eye off because it was a very good pitch. Then he got tripped, and then the ball came loose. Drumgool made the recovery. He's the man who initially made the penetration that Brown saw.
Against Paterno, West Virginia with a first and 10 at the Penn State 43-yard line. Off a play fake, first down pass, plenty of time, complete at the 35. Win the tight end for a first down with Andre Collins and Keith Karpinski riding him out of bounds.
Same play they opened up the game with. They clear out the left side with a wide receiver, and the tight end just runs a crossing route. And this team is very capable of explosions. Looks how many points they have scored against some of the opposition. Boston College a week ago.
The ball is just inside the Penn State 32-yard line. Another first down. This time they run Brown on the delay, swinging to the outside. Run out of bounds at the 25 by Andre Collins, number 31. Collins, the leading tackler on this Penn State team, and he has his hands full today with A.B. Brown, number 28.
And Anthony Brown is a guy that like to get the ball to early in the ball game. He's got real big legs and big hamstrings, and he takes a long time to loosen up. So when they start the game, they want to get as much out of they can from Anthony Brown as they can early, so they give him a lot of carries.
Lamont and Bell are the wide receivers. Brown up the middle, close to a first down, but stopped short of it as Mark D'Onofrio, number 38, out of North Bergen, New Jersey, brings him down for the Nittany Lions. It'll be third and short. The options for West Virginia here.
Well, they've run the option play. We've seen them also run power plays. In this circumstance this year, they've been very effective with that senior offensive line coming off hard and running off tackle.
And they love in third and short to put Harris in the option. They bring him down the line. He's jammed up, turned around, and slammed down at the 30 by Giannetti, number 85.
Giannetti does a real nice job from the backside of the formation, staying at home and running down the line of scrimmage. Remember earlier, Major Harris on a broken play scored on the option play. This time he thinks he's going to do it again, but Giannetti stays at home and makes the play.
Charlie Bauman to attempt a 44-yard field goal. That's about his maximum range, although Coach Don Nealon says he should be able to hit a 50-yarder. But coaches always say that about field goal specialists. Timeout call by the officials momentarily while they change balls. Now they've got it straightened out.
And now they don't. And again, if you're thinking Penn State, Brent, Rich Schoenwolf, number 75, inside has blocked a couple this year, tipped a bunch of passes. He's a tall guy. You want to give a chance inside to try to block one.
On its way. Far enough. No good. No good. Bauman misses a 44-yarder, but West Virginia still leads Penn State 7-0.
This is Jim Nance in New York. A touchdown for the LSU Tigers. Second touchdown pass of the day for Tommy Hodson. Hodson to Tony Moss, and the lead grows to 10 inside of 3 minutes in the third quarter. And the Kansas Jayhawks winless on the season, staying right with Oklahoma in the first quarter. Let's go back to Brent.
For Oklahoma. But LSU with a big one next week in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. That will play a major role in determining the winner of the Southeastern Conference. And here, West Virginia leads Penn State 7-0. While you were away, Joe Paterno brought Tony Sacca and the entire offense over for a meeting. A tight formation. Sacca back, has time, and he throws incomplete to Terry Smith. A jarring hit down there defensively for the Mountaineers, with Mays getting over number 3.
Because Penn State had so many sacks last week, they gave up 5. Their maximum protection here for Tony Sacca, but that means only 2 receivers go out. As you watch Terry Smith take the hit from the free safety, they're keeping everybody in and only sending 2 receivers out.
Now Mays sets up defensively on 2nd and 10. Running back split for the Nittany Lions. Sacca waits the snap. This is Brown swinging to the right, no daylight, and he made the most of it with Ronaldo Turnbull and Thuron Ellis, 2 of their tough defensive players, all over him.
Very much a drought here at Penn State, as you can see. And really the problem the last 2 weeks that we have seen them, again, they're faced in a 3rd and long. First down has been their real problem. They're not gaining 4, 5, 6 yards on first down. They end up a lot in 3rd and 8.
Dave Daniels coming wide to the left. 3rd and 7. Saka with time, throws incomplete. He wanted Daniels at the 45, and Penn State forced a punt. Doug Helkowski, a busy punter a week ago against Alabama. Prentice Bell, number 1, wide receiver out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The West Virginia roster sprinkled with Florida speed. Helkowski booms it, and Bell with a fair catch at the 24-yard line where it'll be 1st and 10. Let's talk about a possible national championship. Let's look at the top 10. UCLA rolling in the Pac-10. Notre Dame unbeaten. SC is there. Miami not out of it, nor is Nebraska, even though both schools have been beaten once. Now the controversy. Florida State and West Virginia. One voter left Florida State off his ballot a couple of weeks ago. Florida State came back hard with a mail campaign. Now West Virginia drops to 7. And the two schools have got a bitter rivalry going in the polls right now. 1st and 10 for Major Harris. Taylor and Brown are his running backs. Running the option, now a late pitch to Brown, and he is out of bounds at the 29 with Keith Karpinski, 84, riding him out. Returning for Penn State, number 39, Eddie Johnson, to that defensive backfield, and they need him.
And he has been a sensational player this year. Had some trouble making the move from corner to free safety, and in college football you need a guy who plays free safety very aggressively. Eddie Johnson can do that for the Lions.
2nd down for the Mountaineers. All on their own 28. Harris pitches to Brown, a hole, 35, 1st down, and down at the 38-yard line, and that was Eddie Johnson bringing him down.
You know, Brent, this offense reminds you a little bit of Nebraska because they run power football, they throw the football downfield, and then they run the option. And they get speed on the corner. Anthony Brown has flat-out speed and can break tackles.
AB giving the Mountaineers another 1st and 10. Major Harris. Now pursued heavily by that Nittany Lion defense, and only his strength allowed him to get it off. Rich Schoenwolf, number 75, managed to penetrate along with Keith Goganich, number 42. Both of them were all over the Major.
And that's a nice play here by Schoenwolf, who played very well a week ago as well. He fights off the block, he stays low again, gets into the shoulder pad so he can get some leverage, and then just makes Major Harris stop first, and then he makes almost a sack. Harris does a nice job of getting rid of the ball and avoiding a 10-yard loss.
2nd and 10 for the Mountaineers. Draw play with Brown, 40, breaks free to the 45 and close to a 1st down before Andre Collins out of Cinnaminson, New Jersey, hauls him down.
Well, Brent, one of the differences between Major Harris and Tony Sacca, both young quarterbacks, but Major Harris has been able to grow up around a very good offensive line the last year and a half. The strength of this offensive team, Sacca playing with an inexperienced offensive line.
3rd and 3. They send Brown out as a receiver. Harris keeps it. Quarterback for the 1st and 10.
And that's a nice play. That play is supposed to designed to go outside, but he sees there's nothing there. He sees quick upfield penetration, great eyes, great vision. Sometimes quarterbacks don't have great vision running the football, but Major Harris does. Sees the penetration upfield, turns inside, and picks up the 1st down.
We've mentioned number 31, Andre Collins from New Jersey, one of 19 children. And what a tribute to his family. 10 of the first 11 are college graduates. And now Collins trying to do it at Penn State. Harris on the option, pitch to Brown, and he is down to the 46. Eddie Johnson, number 39. And against this option style attack, the safeties will be busy making tackles.
But what they like to do is stretch the defense out with that option, make you defend all 53 yards in width, and then let's hammer the ball up inside on you, and then they'll throw the ball deep, maybe 5 or 6 times today. You'll see them throw deep passes, hoping either for the catch or pass interference.
Jamie Lamont checks in at wide receiver on this 2nd and 5. Major's back again. He's got time. Wants to go downfield, over the middle, incomplete. And his receiver, Lamont, was very well covered that time. Karpinski had dropped back into that passing zone.
Depending on the play.
You are looking at the 4th best offense in the country this year. You can see how many points they are scoring per game. And again, we've talked about what makes them so difficult to defend is they have a lot of different weapons. They can go up top for the big pass play, can run the option, and they can power it right through you on short yardage.
3rd down. 3 wide receivers. Taylor, the lone running back. He keeps him in the block. 1st down on the far sideline. Karpinski running the wide man, Keith Wynn, out of bounds. So they line up 3 wides to the right, come back to the tight end on the far side for a 1st down.
And Keith Wynn used to be a split end here at West Virginia. A couple of years ago, he made the move inside, gained 45 pounds, and has really come on as a blocker. Always been a good receiver, but really come on the last year and a half as a blocker, and you need that when you run the option play, a blocker and tight end.
West Virginia leading Penn State 7-0, and a 1st down for the Mountaineers at the Nittany Lions 35. Penalty marker down. Play is stopped. That's our first penalty of the afternoon.
Looked like the right tackle, Brent, moved a little bit early to me, Brian Smiter. Watch the right tackle, number 79, Smiter. That happens. See, all the defensive players are rushing up for the blitz, and he sensed that and left just a little bit early.
Offense. 1st down.
Now 1st and 15. West Virginia must get to the Penn State 25 for a 1st down. Taylor in front of Brown. And Harris on an option freeze goes long. Limbert, touchdown, West Virginia. It's 14-0 West Virginia. Last week against Boston College, the Major passed for 3 touchdowns and ran for 2 more. Here today, he has already run for 1, and now this.
And Brent, ordinarily a free safety has to take the post pattern away, but when you play an option team, a free safety has to be up toward the line of scrimmage. Rembert runs the post pattern, a well-thrown ball by Harris. Is in a double zone, which means this strong safety here has the deep half, but he bites on the in route, and Rambert runs the post route right behind him for the touchdown. Top of the screen, watch the in route by the wide receiver. The strong safety will bite on that. Rambert sees that, runs right behind him for the score. That shouldn't happen against a double zone.
153 yards for West Virginia as Carroll prepares to kick it off. Penn State only 14 yards offensively. 153 yards and still almost 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Brown and Daniels, the deep men. That student body has been here for almost 4 hours. And it's Brown at the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and down at the 30. 33-yard line. Tomorrow, we start at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. These are the early games. Chicago against Doug Flutie. The Rams in New Orleans. Folks, that's a 5-star. Don't miss that one. Phoenix and Dallas. Atlanta, Philadelphia. Green Bay, Buffalo. And the late games tomorrow. That's a 5-star. Minnesota and San Francisco. The Giants, Detroit. 1st and 10. Saka and Penn State trying to get something going. Redmond, the fullback, blasts his way out close to the 40-yard line. A good first down run before Theron Ellis brings him down. Downstairs to John Dockery. John, have you found John Denver yet?
I haven't found him yet, Brent, but I'll tell you someone I did find, and you have to wonder how the Penn State offense would be if Blair Thomas hadn't hurt his knee. Well, I talked to him this morning. As a matter of fact, I woke him up, and I asked him about the knee, and he said it's about 80 to 90%. He definitely won't be back this year, but he's certainly working on it, and he has 2 options, Brent. He has the option of A, going pro in the spring and getting ready for the NFL draft, or B, taking a red shirt and coming back next year at Penn State. He hasn't focused yet, but he kept saying to me, you know, graduation is very important to me, and the earliest I can do that is this summer. Now back to you, Brent.
All right, John. The center tried a quick hike on that play. It's a 3rd down for Penn State. You look behind Redmond and Brown, the West Virginia cheerleaders, hooping and hollering here in Morgantown. And Saka had good time, throws underneath to Redmond. He battles his way for a 1st down. 1st down for Penn State with Alvold Mays, number 3, bringing him down.
And that is an important 1st down for Penn State at this game. If they're going to stay in this game and not have it be a blowout, they need to grind out some 1st downs and keep the ball away from Major Harris. Also, it emphasizes the loss of Blair Thomas. John Dockery was talking about that. He's the guy that came up with all their big plays a year ago, and they missed the big plays from Blair Thomas.
Now with a 1st and 10 for Penn State. Smith, he's the motion man. Brown cuts back out to the 49-yard line with Chris Murray, number 49, out of Pueblo, Colorado, the first to hit him.
You mentioned Chris Herring. He is one of those guys on the inside, number 49 right there, who's got great instincts, and I think it comes from being from a football family. His father is a coach, his uncle is a coach, was a coach in the USFL. He just has a real feel for the game like a middle linebacker needs.
2nd down and long for Penn State. Timpson. Saka slips, bobbles, and Brown's got it for a 1st down. It wasn't pretty, but it works before Willie Edwards got him down, and they will tell Saka, be careful when you're going down about throwing it up for grabs. How serious is it? Joe Paterno's got his coat off now.
And it looked like the center, Roger Duffy, when he stepped back with the right guard, stepped on Tony Saka's foot, and that's why he fell down. But nice concentration by Brown to pick up the little fumble and then pick up the 1st down.
Penn State's deepest penetration. Down to the West Virginia 42. Off a fake draw. Saka now flushed out and hammered down by Ronaldo Turnbull, the leading sack man. That is his 10th sack of the year.
Ronaldo Turnbull is just learning about football. He's from the Virgin Islands. He played 8-man high school football, but watch how he comes from right there on the right side of the screen, 87. He's become a great pass rusher. He is 6'5". He gets very nice leverage by staying low and then presses his way right into the quarterback.
Reaching out with those long arms of his, scouted by an assistant basketball coach, nicknamed the Condor. 2nd and long, drop it off to the tight end over the middle, and they get a 1st down as David Jacob got down to the 30-yard line before Darrell Whitmore brings him down for the Mountaineers.
And I love that call. It is a fake screen to the right. Watch how the tight end, David Jacob, the bottom of the screen, he blocks here. Everybody fakes screen, and then he delays over the middle. Watch the linebackers react to the screen. Big hole in the middle. That's a nice call.
Saka driving the Nittany Lions to the 31. Stacked up at the line. That was Steve Wisniewski.
And Wisniewski carried the ball there. That was the old Nebraska Fumblerooski, the ball was on the ground, and Steve Wisniewski picked it up and tried to run it around right guard.
What a name for the Fumblerooski, Wisniewski.
Here it is. Watch the ball go on the ground. And then Wisniewski, the left guard, picks it up, and he thinks he's going to go untouched, but he was very much touched by three defenders.
Deron Ellis led the way. Here's Brown, cut back. Brown battling his way to the 26-yard line and out of bounds. Mike Fox, number 61, getting him out of bounds. This will leave them with a third down.
And football is a game of important plays at different points in the game. Right now, this third down is a very important play for Penn State. They're down by 14. They're driving. They need to keep that going and get on the scoreboard. An important play here for Penn State.
Timpson and Daniels are the wide men. And Saka will throw on this third down. Wants Timpson incomplete. Inside the 5-yard line, Timpson had pulled away from Drumgoole, but the ball just out of his reach, and it'll be a fourth down for the Nittany Lions.
And those kind of plays are the difference between wins and losses, because Timpson was wide open for a catch and a touchdown. And again, just overthrown by Saka.
Ray Tarasi to attempt a 41-yard field goal. Lance Lonigan did put it down at the 31. And it's stuffed by West Virginia. The Mountaineers block a field goal.
That's Willie Edwards, who is coming off with the ball, but inside they like to put Turnbull, the defensive linebacker, who's 6'5" and can really jump. They like to put him right in the middle and let him do it. This time it's number 66, Deron Ellis, the 6'1", who gets way up, gets that right paw. That's a terrific leap by Ellis, and well timed.
Major Harris and that explosive West Virginia offense coming back with a first down at the 37. They lead Penn State by 2 touchdowns here in the opening quarter. Craig Taylor, the lone setback. 3 wide receivers, and Taylor goes nowhere as Goganis, 42, is the first Nittany Lion to hit him.
Craig Taylor is a very good fullback for the Mountaineers. It's the toughest position to play for West Virginia because they have a primary block every play. No huddle play here by West Virginia.
And the 3 wide receivers with just Taylor. Harris getting protection. Complete. Close to a first down with Karpinski wiping the receiver up right there. Let's check in with Jim Nance.
Brent, some wild things happening in the Big 8. 2 field goals by Jeff Jackie, and Missouri leads with 7 minutes before the half over Nebraska. Kansas threw for 140 yards in the first quarter, even up with Oklahoma starting the second. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, they were going without a huddle, and they were held up momentarily. The ball is at the 47-yard line. First and 10. They did a quick measurement. Wynn was the receiver that time. Now here comes Taylor. They hammer away across midfield and down to the 45.
And Brett, the reason they're going without a huddle is they're trying to prevent substitutions by the Penn State defense. It's a good adjustment by Don Nehlen and his staff.
Now Harris barking the play at the line of scrimmage. He has Bell, Limbert, and Phillips as his wide men. They run Taylor on that draw play, and he may have gotten still another first down.
And anytime Major Harris has the ball in his hands and threatens to get to the corner of the defense as he did there, you have to react. Then he ran the little draw to Taylor inside.
That is the 10th first down for West Virginia. A minute 6. No time for the situation substitutes. Harris back now. The offensive line gives him plenty of time. Drops it to Taylor, the running back, and he's to the 39 with Goganis, who has been very active, hammering him out of bounds along with Collins.
Terrific protection. And offense, we said, starts with line play. Watch the time that Major Harris has here. Koken inside, Kovac, Stroya. All those guys inside give him plenty of time to find a receiver.
6 yards to go for the first down. Still in the opening quarter. West Virginia leading 14-0. Harris runs out of trouble again. Now he throws. He was behind the line. It is wide receiver at the 27-yard line with a first down pass, and Willie Thomas making the stop.
One of the things that Calvin Phillips does so well is adjust to the ball as West Virginia continues to go with their no-huddle offense. This is a nice ploy by Don Nehlen, preventing the substitutions from coming in.
Lamont slotted to the left. Taylor, and he is down at the 25-yard line. A short gain on 1st and 10 because Fran Giannetti, number 85, brought him down right there. Aaron Evans, the son of NBA referee Hugh Evans, checks in at fullback, number 36. He'll bodyguard for the Major, who's flushed again by Schoenwolf. Look at his speed. Get to the outside. Goes up in the air. Intercepted. And no, it was incomplete. They dropped the ball. Neil Hamilton had it. Neil Hamilton had the ball for the Nittany Lions and couldn't hold on.
We've seen two plays. You're going to see the interception that Neil Hamilton should have had here. But the inside rush, I don't think you can rush a quarterback like Major Harris from the inside because he has so much scrambling ability. The ball goes off the helmet, and there number 30, Hamilton, has it and then drops it. But to rush a quarterback like Harris, you have to rush from the outside, I think, Brent, to keep him in the pocket.
Joe Paterno across the way, and a timeout has been called by West Virginia. How experienced is this line of West Virginia, Pat?
When you look at the top 10 teams across the country, look at all the starts that West Virginia has had. These guys have played 4 years next to one another. And in no other part of the team do you need the kind of teamwork and cooperation that you need as you do in the offensive line. And these guys really care about each other. Every Thursday night they go out to dinner together, they room together. It's a good group.
5 seniors. Brian Smider, Bob Kovac, Kevin Koken, John Stroya, Rick Phillips. Probably the most important part of a football team. Certainly John Madden among those who believe that you start with the offensive line, and Don Nehlen knows he's got a good one.
Every good team that I have been around has had leadership out of the offensive line. Koken and Stroya, 2 offensive linemen, are co-captains of this Mountaineer team.
Big third down for the Penn State defense. A.B. Brown back at tailback. Craig Taylor, the fullback. It is 3rd and long. The Mountaineers must get to the 16 for a 1st and 10. The ball is resting at the Penn State 25. Harris on the option has Brown on the outside. Brown to the 20. 1st down to the 15 with Chris Caesar bringing him down as we come to the end of the 1st quarter here in Morgantown, West Virginia. We'll return after this message and a word from your local station. Nice to have you with us. With Pat Hayden and John Dockery, I'm Brent Musburger. West Virginia is for real. 14-0 over Penn State. A summary of how we got there. Now, he threw for 90 yards, but don't forget he also ran for 45, including a touchdown. They've rushed for 111, and Penn State only 21 rush. Now, Penn State has also passed for 29 yards, so their total yards should be 50. It is 201 to 50. This is a 1st and 10 for the Major, who sends his fullback in motion, tosses to his tailback behind the fullback, and he slashes inside to the 12-yard line with Brian Chismar, number 28, who is slowed by an injury today and has not been very active, coming up to make that stop. And Don Nehlen has got a team that's as impressive as any we have seen this year.
And everybody thinks that this is Don Nehlen's first good team. It is not. This is not an overnight success story. He has been in 5 bowl games his first 8 years here at West Virginia. He's looking for his first major bowl this year.
But he has the nemesis on the other side of the field, unable to beat Joe Paterno. Thought he had it last year and it slipped away. They pound straight ahead and they're stuffed by the middle of that Penn State defense. So this will bring up a 3rd and long.
Penn State is very difficult to score on, particularly running the ball from the 15-yard line in. They play pretty much an 8-man front all over the field. You'll have much more success throwing the ball in than running against this defense.
Now the ball is at the Penn State 12-yard line, indicating how tough they are against the run. Brown goes wide to the right, and they put Bell in the backfield. They toss it to him, swinging around to the left. Now he's going to throw it, keeps it inside the 10, battles his way to the 7-yard line with a penalty marker down on the far side. So a bit of a wrinkle. Bell, Francis Bell, they put him at tailback, gave him the option pass, brought him to the left, moved the regular tailback out to the right, but a penalty marker on the far side. It is against West Virginia, a little too fancy that time, and this penalty will hurt them.
Again, very, very tough to get the ball in the end zone, running the ball up the gut. They had to try to come up with a trick play as they did there, or throwing the ball downfield, or perhaps Major Harris on the option play.
Joe Paterno watching as the options are explained. It'll be 3rd and 12 as the ball is brought back to the 17-yard line.
Well, Brent, you mentioned it at the top. It is absolutely astounding to me that Joe Paterno, in 38 years of coaching, has never had a losing season. That's remarkable to me.
Rimbert and Phillips are the wide receivers. Wins the tight end. Harris pulls out of the option. He's hammered by Neil Hamilton, number 30, who comes in with a huge defensive play for the Nittany Lions.
And Neil Hamilton was the one who should have had the interception a few plays ago, but that time makes a nice play off the corner. Very top of the screen on the right top. You'll see number 30. He was lined up as a linebacker. Harris had his back to him by the time he saw him. We actually never did see him, but Hamilton did a nice job, so Harris could not get rid of the ball.
Now, there was a penalty marker thrown at the 1-yard line on that play.
And now what West Virginia has to be thinking is
a penalty marker was thrown because of illegal participation.
12 men on the field, defense.
Oh, mercy. What a mental blunder.
Top of the screen, you're going to see some confusion there. Again, uncharacteristic of a Joe Paterno team. They both stayed in, and that's where the penalty was. No wonder they're so tough to score on down there. We had 12 guys in.
That will tend to do it. That is so uncharacteristic of a Joe Paterno coach team. Seldom in the past have the Nittany Lions beaten themselves. Now it is 3rd and 3. Wipes out that defensive play by Hamilton. Harris trying to cut back in, and they stop him short. Neil Hamilton again, number 30. He's out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, a senior, getting the job done, and they have forced West Virginia to go for the field goal.
Again, once again, Neil Hamilton makes the play, playing outside linebacker. He's playing a lot more. He fights off the tight end's block. He's not just good on the open side. He can fight through the tight end and make the play on Harris as he did right there.
Bauman to attempt a 24-yarder. He's got it long enough, and he's put West Virginia ahead by 17 points. 17-0. We'll be right back. Don Nealon played quarterback at Bowling Green, later became the head coach of his alma mater, then went up to join Bo Schembechler's staff at Ann Arbor before leaving Michigan to come here. 9 years at West Virginia. His record, 65, 35, and 1/5 of his losses at West Virginia against Joe Paterno and Penn State. With Carroll set to kick it off again for the Mountaineers. Daniels and Brown again will be the deep men, and Missouri ambushing Nebraska in the first half very early. Wyoming will be one of our featured teams next week against UTEP out in Laramie, Wyoming. That'll be a great scene, won't it? Comes onto the field. Let's go down to John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Brent, this turf is some of the closest thing that I've ever seen to grass. It's very kind on the legs. Let me show you why. First of all, it has a really thick cushion underneath. And then the synthetic fiber here is not glued down, but rather tons of sand are poured between it, and it allows for give, kind of a little slide when a player cuts so his leg doesn't lock. But the biggest recommendation I've ever heard is saying that a coach in West Virginia, Don Nehlen, likes to practice on this as much as on grass field. Now that's something else. Now back to you, Brent.
Thanks, John. 2 new running backs for Penn State. Sam Gash ahead of Thompson, number 44, and he slashes his way to the 37-yard line to make it second and short with Dale Jackson, 93, bringing him down. So Leroy Thompson out of Knoxville, Tennessee, with his first carry of the day. Number 11, Gash, is a story. He missed the Alabama game because of an ankle injury. They missed him, if for no other reason, blocking in that backfield. Now he is ahead of Thompson. Jacob goes to the right side. This is Thompson again. Stopped short of that first down. Scott Summits, 73 of Davidsville, Pennsylvania, leading the defense that time.
Again, Summits, number 73, right here is going to make a nice inside charge. What he does so well is get off on the snap. Watch how quickly he gets off, has a little slant inside, fights off the block of the guard, and then makes the play on Thompson. That's a very nice play by Scott Summits.
3rd and short for the Nittany Lions, needing to get a first to keep it going. Thompson behind Gash, stuffed, and leading the way, Chris Herring.
Joe Paterno looks like he's going to punt the ball here, but it surprises me. You're losing by 17 points. If you give the ball back to Major Harris, you have to worry about that. I'm surprised. I would try to go for it here.
And I don't think he has any option, given this field position and the way the defense is stuffing his running game. I think Helkowski's got to punt it.
And watch Chris Herring as he makes the play right here. We talked about his instincts a little bit earlier. Found the little soft spot, found the hole, and then made the play.
Hits it at the 30. Bell is back. Fields it at the 29-yard line. Jitterbug and down there at the 32-yard line. Darren Perry getting down with coverage. Held him to a 3-yard return. So when you come back, it'll be Major Harris time again. Well, Major Harris may remind you of the next Randall Cunningham, but folks, football is not even his favorite game.
Yeah, you know, growing up, that was my first love, basketball. That's all we played where I'm from, you know, is basketball. You know, I didn't start playing football until high school. So, you know, basketball is my first love, and, you know, if I had a chance, I would probably want to play basketball.
He took Brasher High School of Pittsburgh into the state championship against Carlisle. Carlisle was loaded. Jeff Lebo of the Tar Heels and the Owens brothers, one a football player, the other an emerging basketball star at Syracuse. Major ran a great floor game, but they lost to mighty Carlisle. And now in the backfield, Aaron Evans and Undra Johnson for the Major. He hands off to Undra, and Johnson comes across to the 36-yard line.
Every quarterback I know always wants to be a basketball player. You ever notice that? You all want to be the point guard of the basketball team. Andre Johnson's a guy, although he's the backup tailback, he is a very unselfish player. He's rushed for over 100 yards their last 2 games. Never seemed to complain. When he gets his chance, he plays very well.
Now on second down, the Major rolling to buy some time. Incomplete. Sent his fullback out. That's Aaron Evans there. A young second-year player out of Richmond, Virginia, with a penalty flag down at the 39-yard line. Against the defense. Penn State hurt by that personal foul call.
You know, Brent, one of the reasons I think Major Harris is so good is that he treats football as it should be. It's only a game to him, and he still has fun playing the game of football. And I think that becomes harder and harder in big-time college football. But he plays with a smile on his face.
So the penalty moves the ball across midfield and into Nittany Lion territory. 1st and 10 for West Virginia. The Mountaineers lead the Nittany Lions 17-0. 9.5 minutes to go in the first half. Major off a play fake. Look at the time. Look at the arm. Going long for Phillips. He's got it. Touchdown, West Virginia. Point hammered true. 24-0. Get the adjectives ready. This kid's for real.
Yeah, take notice of Major Harris. This is against the will. He winds up and throws it all the way downfield to Calvin Phillips, who makes a nice adjustment on the ball. Phillips is finally emerging in his senior year, making a lot of big catches.
The Orange Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl are both drooling watching this team. And folks, they'll bring fans to your city for a bowl game.
You know, Brent, everybody thinks of the quarterback on big plays like we just saw, but the offensive line here set it all up. Koken again the center, Kovac the guard, Stroya the guard. Phillips had about 4 seconds to get rid of that ball. That's a long time for the protection to hold up.
What kind of a young man is Major Harris? Well, if you walked with him and you passed the ping pong table, he'd throw you a paddle and say, let's play. Just roll it out. And whatever the game, the Major wants to compete.
He'd probably beat you.
I wouldn't bet against him.
Yeah.
This time, Bauman kicks it off. Brown at the 7. 15. 20. Slam breaks a tackle. Running backwards to the 20. Now out to the 25. Turns upfield at the 29-yard line. So one of the major unbeatens certainly rolling here today. West Virginia, UCLA with some early difficulty. Notre Dame rolling today. Wyoming with a big lead, and Arkansas, the strength of the Southwest Conference. But Arkansas still must go to the Orange Bowl to play the Hurricanes of Miami. I'll tell you a great game. I'll tell you a dandy. Miami and West Virginia, or Notre Dame and West Virginia. Take your pick. And speaking to the Bulls, Ara Parsegan coming along at halftime to talk to our Jim Nance. Now, there's a personal foul against West Virginia. They hammered Brown a little bit too hard on that kickoff return on that far side. The ball is brought out to the 44, and let's see how the freshman Saka does now. Penn State badly in need of a score. Gash still in at fullback. Incomplete. Overthrew his tight end that time. David Jacob coming out of the backfield.
Brent, you mentioned it, and Brent and Ara and Jimmy Nance are going to talk about it at halftime. I think this this is the fun time of the college season when we can really get into the bowl, start talking about them. You know, can a West Virginia team win a national championship, go undefeated? Remember 1984, BYU won a championship. Everybody said they couldn't.
2nd and 10. The draw play with Thompson. Midfield, first down. Inside the 40, down to the 35-yard line. Chris Herring, number 49, bringing him down for the Mountaineers. A 16-yard gain. Ball went out of bounds. You may have saw the ball come free, but because it went out of bounds, no fumble in that situation, and they'll have the first down. And Thompson goes over to talk to Joe. Said, now look, hold on to the ball. You got a great run. You coughed it up once last week. Now just hold it for me, number 44. Gary Brown replaces him. Time left in the first half. Timpson, the burner in motion. They run Brown. Battles his way to the 33-yard line with Darrell Whitmore, number 11, a bright young defensive back, tripping him up.
So Penn State has really had a 4-week decline in the rushing attack. There's, you see, Alabama a week ago, 71 yards. And right now, if they're going to have any chance of keeping this game close, 53 yards today, they need a score here before halftime. They need a touchdown.
2nd and short for the Nittany Lions. Here's the toss to Brown. And he battles his way to the 29. Could be a first down. Let's see where they spot the ball. Brown, he's out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. 5'11", 200-pound running back.
He's been the guy that's really come up with all the big plays for Penn State this season, both in the rushing attack and as a receiver. A very good screen receiver out of the backfield.
1st and 10 for the Nittany Lions. Ball inside West Virginia's 30, challenging again. Saka throws complete inside the 15-yard line. And that was Michael Timpson catching his first pass, 17 yards, and Alvold Mays, the defensive back.
And Joe Paterno said before the game that some of the other guys, the wide receivers, have to come up with big plays. Timpson, right here, runs the out and up against the double zone defense. It's a well-thrown ball by Saka because he is pretty well covered by number 3 Mays. Good adjustment by Timpson.
The deepest penetration by the Nittany Lions. A 1st and 10 against West Virginia. Saka to Brown. Brown tries to swing away to the outside, and he couldn't. He's down at the 14. Scott Summits, number 73, getting across for that Mountaineer defense.
You know, because you hear so much about West Virginia's offense, you don't think about much of their defense. 73 in the middle of the screen. Summits, it's the 2nd big play he has made. Just fights off the block of the All-American Wisniewski and makes the play.
Number 11, Darrell Whitmore, just limped off for West Virginia. Number 42, Zippy Shearer, is in. And Penn State will throw it right away over the middle, complete inside the 10. The tight end battles his way to the 3-yard line. David Jacob being brought down by Drumgoole.
David Jacob.
When you have a quarterback is off to a slow start, you try to get the ball to the tight end because he's a big target. It's an easy throw. He's right in front of you. So far today, Zach has thrown the ball to him twice. It sounded like Paterno just said, run the option here.
Joe, we need that much.
Something we haven't seen much from Saka is they bring the chains out to measure right now to see if Paterno and the Nittany Lions have a 1st and 10 inside that 5-yard line.
And they have not scored much. 1 touchdown in the last 10 quarters. They're bringing in 3 tight ends.
It's 11 quarters, adding the first one here today.
They need a touchdown desperately here with 7 minutes left in the half.
Well, they get a little bit of a break, being just short. Get themselves an extra down now. 3rd and inches. Thompson is the tailback. Gash the fullback. Young is in there, along with Wolf. 3 tight ends. Tight formation for the Lions. Gash, the short yardage man, bounces and toward the end zone for a touchdown. The Nittany Lions have scored with 7 minutes to go in the first half.
And that's a great run by Sam Gash. Yeah, it wasn't 50 yards, but that was all determination by Gash. Remarkable to me that he's even playing. It looks like Penn State is going to go for 2 points here. Saka has stayed in for the game as Fran Gander, the offensive coordinator. They're looking for 2 here as they move the ball to the left hash.
Saka bending into the huddle. He'll have Daniels and Smith wide to the right. Gash the running back. Thompson is over there on a wing coming in motion. 3 receivers on the right. Saka was looking back, now being chased. Throws complete for the 2, and he hit David Daniels, the sophomore from Sarasota, Florida, and now it is 24-8 after the 2-point conversion by Penn State.
And Paterno makes it a 16-point game, but first take a look at the touchdown. Again, it wasn't a long run, but a tough run by Gash, who 2 weeks ago they thought he had a broken ankle. It was just a strain. He came back and he showed great determination right there. The 2-point play here, what Penn State was trying to do was get the man in motion in the flat quickly. West Virginia played a zone defense, took that away, and Saka showed some patience and then found David Daniels, number 26, right underneath the goalpost. It's a good play by Daniels.
The key man for the Nittany Lions, sophomore fullback Sam Gash of Hendersonville, North Carolina. His 5th touchdown of the season. He was injured and missed the Alabama game. Now he is back, and Henry Atkins has the ball on the tee for the Nittany Lions.
And if you're wondering why Joe went for 2 there, and he's thinking way ahead now, they're down by 16. He's thinking second half he needs 2 touchdowns and a field goal if he can shut them out in the second half.
Remember last year, West Virginia had this team beaten, and Penn State rallied. Brown scored the winning touchdown. Napoleon at the 9, 15-20. Down at the 26-yard line, and a penalty flag comes down. A penalty marker is down at the 28-yard line. Let's see if it was a late clip. Yes, it was. Now West Virginia beginning to make a few of those mistakes that can add up. The ball will be taken back inside the 15-yard line.
Flipping, receiving team, half the distance to the goal, first down.
A 1st and 10 for West Virginia coming out from their own 13-yard line. They lead it 24-8. 6:50 to go in the first half. Evans and Johnson are the running backs for Harris. Moss is the tight end. Johnson swinging wide to the right, and he's taken out of bounds by Neil Hamilton, who's played a superb game. Let's check in with Jim Nance. Jim?
Well, quarterback Steve Walsh of Miami moves past Bernie Kosar into 2nd on the Hurricanes' career touchdown pass list with his 41st. It goes to Andre Brown, puts the Canes 17 up on East Carolina with 9 minutes left. Back to Brent.
All right, Jim, the Hurricanes are rolling, and here West Virginia leading Penn State 24-8. John Dockery and Pat Hayden, I'm Brent Musburger. Major Harris has put on a spectacular show in the first half. Here he hands off to Johnson. Great fake that time, and he explodes for the first down before Hamilton can tackle him at the 25.
Andre Johnson has great speed, but he can be deceiving because he doesn't have a whole lot of moves, and sometimes he appears slower than he is, and he can really fool a defense.
Now
left tackle, Brent, as you see right here, watch him come down and clear the way. The fullback is offset, and this is a little change of pace. They've always run to that fullback until today.
Now Harris running off of that option, spins free from a tackler, throws complete to Rimbert, who's out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Rimbert the junior college transfer, catches another one for 17 yards and a 1st and 10.
And another athletic play by Major Harris, finding Reggie Rembert. This receiver is 6'6". He looks a little bit like a one-iron. He is so tall, he's 6'6", 200 pounds. But Major Harris finds the guy. He is a lean guy.
Could you handle a one-iron like that?
Heck no, heck no. Can handle a 7-iron.
1st and 10 for the Mountaineers. And here's Johnson pounding his way to the 47-yard line before Giannetti brings him downstairs to John Dockery. Doc?
Brent, let me ask you a question. What happens when a coach gets his program going well and people are excited about it? Well, they name an ice cream after. Remember last year it was Paterno Peach? Well, this year here in Morgantown, it's Nifty Neeland Fudgeberry. Kind of a strawberry with a chocolate swirl. Not bad. And I might add that Nifty Neeland is outselling Paterno Peach by a wide margin, with all proceeds going to Ronald McDonald House. Now back to you, Brent.
All right. Harris trying to buy time, and that time he could not get it off as the defense collapsed around him. Quintus McDonald, 92, and Dave Zott, the noseman, 79, helped bring him down.
Again, another one of these key 3rd downs for the Penn State defense. Again, what they need to do is stuff West Virginia now, give their offense a chance. They've scored their 1st touchdown in a long time. They've got some momentum, but get the ball back.
Jamie Lamont, number 15, in at wide receiver, going to the left. Phillips and Rembert to the right. On 3rd and 7, look at the time the Majors got. Can't find an open man. Now goes to Phillips, complete. Inside the 15-yard line.
You know, Brent, it is remarkable to me how accurate Major Harris is with a deep pass. A lot of guys can complete 60% of their passes when they're dinking the ball, but he is completing 60% of his passes, throwing the ball downfield. Phillips is well covered. It's a frozen rope. He has done that twice to Phillips this afternoon.
Almost 200 yards in the air already here this afternoon. 2 touchdowns. He's run for a 3rd. They've added a field goal. They lead Penn State 20-48. They're threatening again. Evans in front of Johnson in the backfield. This is Johnson right up the middle. Breaks free and gets inside the 10. Collins had him wrapped up, couldn't bring him down, and range finally hauled the tough running back down.
You know, from tackle to tackle, I think Andre Johnson is as strong as any running back I have seen this year in college football. And very much an unselfish guy. Very talented player, plays 2nd team, but never complains.
2nd down for the Mountaineers and already short. Off that option, Major turns it up, and he's down at the 6 with Andre Collins tackling the quarterback, number 31.
Major Harris is one of the few option quarterbacks I have seen with an accurate right arm. You think about option quarterbacks, you think about the Oklahoma guys in particular, great runners, but don't have the touch with the ball because they take such a beating. Harris is able to take that beating and still have touch on the football.
Making him perhaps the most dangerous quarterback in the land today. What do you do now with 3rd and short going in? How do you set the defense? He hands it off to Johnson, and he's got a 1st down inside the 5. Scott Gobb, 63, tackling him for Paterno.
And a lot of passing teams can't get the short yardage, but this team can because of that offensive line. Don Neeland has done a great job of recruiting these players. Not highly sought, most of them, by some of the major schools. They have to go to get the 2nd-tier players, but he has done that. He gets them here, and then he coaches them awfully well.
1st and goal for the Mountaineers. Johnson with a penalty flag down, getting close to the end zone. The linesman throwing the penalty flag on the far side.
Brought in a 3rd fullback that time, Rico Tyler, who went in motion. But They call the offsides against Penn State. It's very unusual to see a team like West Virginia who can give you some finesse and then hammer the ball down your throat.
To 8, West Virginia leading Penn State inside of 3 minutes here in the first half. It'll be a first down for the Mountaineers at that 2-yard line. Tyler, the third fullback, stays in the game. Over the top is Taylor. Craig Taylor for a Mountaineer touchdown. To attempt the extra point. And after so many years of frustration at the hands of the Nittany Lions, West Virginia has opened up a 31-8 lead in the first half. How bad has it been? Since 1956, Penn State has won 30 of 32 games and tied one other.
And Brent, most fullbacks can't leap like Dwight Stone, but Craig Taylor can. He got up and over, 215 pounds, a great blocker, but there he showed you how he can get up and over. The offensive line did a nice job allowing him to do that.
The love affair continues here in Morgantown. And there are a lot of other folks who might believe that they are indeed #1 watching this offense here this afternoon.
I am surprised. I know West Virginia was averaging 43 points coming into today's game, but awfully surprised.
That is the backup quarterback, Greg Jones. He transferred here from Miami. He is a backup with professional potential, and the way things are going, some of the scouts here this afternoon will get a chance to see that arm before this one's over.
He backed up Vinny Testaverde at Miami and transferred here over a year ago. Big-time arm.
Gary Brown and O.J. McDuffie are back for Bauman's kickoff. Brown lets it go out of bounds. It'll be a 5-yard penalty against West Virginia. So tomorrow, the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern. Come along with Dick Butkus, Irv Cross, and Will McDonough. Then the Bears will be at New England. And how about this one? What a big one that is in the NFC West. Phoenix at Dallas. Atlanta at Philadelphia. Those are our early games, along with Green Bay at Buffalo. The Packers lost a heartbreaker. Then late, there's the 5-star doubleheader game. The Vikings and the 49ers. That Ram-New Orleans game that came up there a second time, I want to make sure it is early. That game is an early starting game tomorrow.
It's a game I'm looking forward to watching in Los Angeles. Those Rams are off to a great start.
And New Orleans winning ugly, but they're still winning. And we'll look at Craig Hayward at 12:30 Eastern time. Those of you in the East, remember old Ironhead and his exploits up in Pittsburgh as the ball blows off the tee.
He was one of the real fun guys in college football a year ago. Had a big run a week ago. I think it was 73 yards.
Dick Butkus went down to New Orleans, Pat. He was going to do Bourbon Street with Ironhead. Coach Jim Mora found out and said, no way, no way. You get him and settle that young man down. There's Bauman kicking it high. Brown at the 9, 15, 20, out to the 27-yard line. Steve Grant, number 4 from from Miami, bringing him down. We should talk about the recruiting base for this West Virginia team. Like a lot of schools, they go into New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Ohio for a lot of their linemen. But when they want running backs and wide receivers, they go down to the state of Florida. How many skilled athletes does Florida turn out every year? It is unbelievable. Sean Redmond and Gary Brown are into the backfield for Penn State. This is Brown. 35, 40, 47. A first down for the Nittany Lions, and Darrell Whitmore, who returned, bringing him down.
Still plenty of time for Penn State with 2:34 remaining in the half. They have 3 timeouts remaining to get on the board with another touchdown.
Brown, the tailback. Saka throwing over the middle and intercepted at midfield by Whitmore. Whitmore driven out of bounds on the far side by the quarterback, Saka.
Darrell Whitmore played that beautifully. The free safety read the quarterback's eyes the whole way. Watch him looking right at the quarterback. Sees the tight end coming across, then makes the play. This guy is a very physical free safety. He makes a nice interception there.
Now Whitmore has a bright future. They talk about him in the same breath with Deion Sanders of Florida State. No, he's not there yet, but they talk about his potential. Now a 1st and 10 for the Mountaineers, just inside the 30-yard line. Here is Harris swinging it to Johnson. Johnson inside the 20, and he's out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
A lot of quarterbacks with shot arms can't throw the ball with touch, but that time Major Harris just lofted the ball right there for Andre Johnson to run under. A nice touch by Major Harris on that throw.
Are they going to get another one before the intermission? 31-8. 2:15 to go for Neyland's Mountaineers. The entire state of West Virginia loving this one. Johnson blasts his way inside the 10. Scott Gobb bringing him down.
Joe Paterno concerned about his young team. 25 freshmen on this team.
And still ahead of Paterno, Maryland, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame.
That's in one half, 364 yards in one half by West Virginia.
2nd and 7 for the Mountaineers. Harris options down the line. Johnson fumbles, picks up, and he gets to the 7-yard line. Brian Chismar, number 28, wrapping him up.
And that's another reason Don Neyland likes this turf, because you get a good bounce on it. That ball on grass might have gone anywhere, but it bounced right up to Andre Johnson.
Chismar is down on the far side. He came into the game injured, and he is shaken up again on this play.
He has played very well for Joe Paterno this year at strong safety. They play him at linebacker some too.
Injured during the week. Freak injury in practice. And Chismar will leave the game. While there's timeout, we'll take a break and be right back. Chismar shaken up. He has left the game. This is the 2nd offensive line on the field for the Mountaineers for this drive, with the exception of their center, Koken. They have Redwine, Wolfley, Parker, Lynn out there. Dale Wolfley.
The brother of Ron Wolfley, who played fullback here years ago. The last time, as a matter of fact, that West Virginia beat Penn State.
Harris to throw it. Has all day. Waits, throws back, incomplete. Keith Wynn, his tight end, was the intended receiver, but Harris wisely got it out of bounds. Jim Nance and Arrow will come along, and they'll talk about the bowl invitation dilemmas. Yeah, which one can coax West Virginia to come?
Arrow Parsegian will give us any information about what Notre Dame is thinking.
He knows.
Will he tell us, though?
I don't know. Come on, Arrow, step up today. Bauman hammers it through, another field goal. 24-yarder by Bauman. 34-8. A minute to go in the first half. How the balance of power is shifting in the East. A year ago, it was Syracuse exploding in Penn State's face. Now it's West Virginia. And at the conclusion of the CBS Sports College Football broadcast, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
When you're talking about power in the East, I think people around the country, particularly out west where I live, don't realize the quality of football out there. When they see Penn State down, they think the entire East is down. But Syracuse is up. Rutgers has had a pretty good year, and West Virginia is having a sensational year.
Don't forget the cadets of West Point.
You're absolutely right. I think they're, what, 6-1 now? We'll see them later in the year.
That great game in Philadelphia, Army, Navy, one we always look forward to. Bauman now putting the ball down on the tee. McDuffie and Brown, the deep men for the Nittany Lions. Brown lets it bounce, fields it on the 1-yard line. In trouble. And down at the 16-yard line. Let's go downstairs to John Dockery. Doc?
Brian, Brent, they're wrapping Brian Chismar's knee behind me over here. The irony of it is, in the first quarter, he took off his knee brace because he was limited by it and he wasn't feeling good about it, so he took it off, and then what happens? Someone rolls over on his right knee, and right now you can see them wrapping it in ice. One of the game's ironies. Now back to you, Brent.
All right, John, and Sean Redmond, 22, is the fullback. Gary Brown, 27, the tailback, behind the Penn State offensive line. 54 seconds to go for Tony Sacca, the freshman quarterback from New Jersey. It's been a very rough education for Sacca. This is Brown down at the 17-yard line. And Penn State letting that clock run down. West Virginia has 2 timeouts remaining.
And again, they run the no-huddle offense, but they're going to have to throw the ball downfield and hope for a big play. Give Timpson a chance.
Incomplete, wanted to drop it off for Brown and threw it out of bounds, stopping the clock with 31 seconds. One thing you do not want to do right here is stop that clock very often. You don't want to give the major a last-second opportunity the way he can fire it.
Beautiful place, this Morgantown. I really enjoyed my week here. The people have been awfully nice to us. Great college town.
Seconds to go. Brown is down at the 21.
Well, Brent, this is a tough situation for any quarterback, but particularly for an 18-year-old freshman like Tony Sacca is in. That's 2 weeks in a row as West Virginia calls a timeout. They have 1 remaining, but a very tough situation for Sacca.
Mountaineers use a timeout with 20 seconds to go. They're going to force a punt. They're going to get a return. And who knows what after that. Grantis Bell.
And Darrell Whitmore, number 11, has blocked 2 punts this year. He'll be coming off the corner.
He'll be at the bottom of your screen on the short side, number 11. He'll be the wide man. To punt it. Gets it off. Fair catch. At the 45-yard line, 13 seconds for Major Harris and the wide receivers. Nealon with some final words for Harris before he comes out.
And remember, West Virginia is not afraid, as we've seen in this first half, to throw the ball downfield. They figure they're going to throw the ball downfield 6 or 10 times a game. If they don't catch it, they're hoping for the pass interference.
Phillips and Bell are the wide men. Let's see what Nealon wants to do here with Bell coming in motion. Johnson explodes. 30, 25, 20, 10. Touchdown, West Virginia. Roman to attempt the extra point, and seldom has that man ever been in the middle of a situation like this.
And Brent, this is a nice call by Mike Jacobs, the offensive coordinator. Everybody in the house, myself included, thought it was going to be a pass to the right side, but they run the draw back to the left side. Undra Johnson has a terrific burst. He picked up a nice block by his right guard, Bob Kovac, and then outruns the Penn State defense into the end zone.
The senior from Fort Lauderdale takes it the distance. And against Penn State's defense, West Virginia's offense has totaled 421 yards. That's in the first half.
You know, this is remarkable to me. Everybody wondered about West Virginia because of their schedule. Yes, Penn State is down, but they still have a pretty good defensive team. I am amazed that they scored 41 points the first half.
Penn State did not let Alabama score a touchdown. Looks good right now. 41-8 and 3 seconds to go.
It's like an Oklahoma score.
Squirts it on the ground as the final seconds tick away. The first half. Listen to this crowd. The stage was set early in the game. West Virginia's first drive. And the major made like a general. Cut back and did it all alone. A 27-yard touchdown run. It was 7-0, and now it's 41-8. Jim Nance and Ara Parsegan will come along after this message. And
the Prudential College Football Report is sponsored by the Prudential. Your Prudential representative goes above and beyond to meet your needs in insurance and other financial services. The Prudential, your rock in financial services.
Welcome back to New York. Jim Nance along with the coach. Ara, are you a believer now?
Are they impressive? Anybody watching that team play, they has to be impressed. As a matter of fact, the Paterno team has never given more than 49 points. They already have 41. The thing that's really impressive is that this Mountaineer football team, before this game, said that they were going to win it. Not only win it, but win it big. They're fulfilling that prophecy.
At 49 points, that's a good note. Could be broken today. Coach, of course, tonight we turn back the clocks, but right now as we run down the top 20, our tireless research staff points out that we have to turn back the calendar to October 9th, 1982 for the last time that we've had an October Saturday without a single matchup between top 20 teams. That's a span of 28 October Saturday afternoons. Now let's run them down. Number 1, UCLA with 2 field goals from Alfredo Velasco. A field goal lead over Washington State in the second quarter. Number 2, Notre Dame now 8-0 for the first time since 1973 when the Irish won the national championship. And Ara, you were the coach, of course, that year. What about the comparisons between the two teams? We see Derek Brown, the freshman, outstanding tight end, catch a touchdown pass from Tony Rice.
Well, Jim, a lot of people are drawing a lot of comparisons between those two teams, and there are. Both of us lost the previous year's bowl game. Both of us broke big win streaks. We beat Southern California, and of course Notre Dame this year beat Miami. We both had young teams and young quarterbacks, so if they finish that way, they'll have another championship.
That's now 25 straight years Notre Dame has knocked off Navy. Rodney Peete has already thrown 2 touchdown passes. The Trojans lead at Parker Stadium in Corvallis. Number 4, Miami, now 6-1 on the season. Steve Walsh with another big afternoon for the quarterback from the Canes. 4 more touchdown passes. This one, here goes to his tight end, Shedzinski. And 4 touchdown passes for Walsh moves him the second on the career touchdown pass list. Only 6 touchdown passes all-time behind Vinny Testaverde. Missouri led 9-0 over Nebraska. Back have come the Huskers to take the lead in the third quarter. Arrow, what was the story in the first half in Lincoln?
Unbelievable. The Nebraska Cornhuskers ran the ball 22 times for 15 yards. I want to see the film myself. That never happens because Nebraska was an improving football team, although they've come back in the second half.
One of the touchdowns for Nebraska, an 82-yard touchdown pass from Steve Taylor. 14-9 Nebraska midway through the third. Number 6 Florida State has the week off. Next week we'll go against the Gamecocks. Oklahoma over Kansas in the third quarter, winless Kansas. The last time Oklahoma lost a Big 8 game was 1984 to the Jayhawks, a span of 28 straight wins for Oklahoma in the Big 8. In about a half an hour, number 9 Auburn will invade Florida. Number 10 Wyoming over Colorado State. This game is the battle for the bronze boot. The story in Wyoming, however, is the coach. 61-year-old coach Paul Roach, who has become a folk hero in cowboy country, and as one of his former bosses told us, he's not only getting better, he's getting older.
Paul Roach was born an old coach. I remember when I got him from the University of Wisconsin, and I was looking for a backfield coach at that time, and he came highly recommended, and they said, but he's on the older side. Paul's a little older, and I said, heck, I don't care. I like different. I like strange. I like, and Paul fit in. And that was like 15 years ago, and Paul was too old then, and now he's still coaching. Now he's a head coach. I thought, geez, that's the kind of guy you need. The guy that just doesn't fit in, but he's been old a long time, that guy.
And he turned 61 on Monday, did Paul Roach. He's going to be now 14-0 in WAC play in 2 seasons with the Cowboys. Number 12, Oklahoma State over Kansas State, only a 7-point lead in the third quarter. K-State 0-7 on the season, started the game with an onside kick, successfully drove for a touchdown, but back have come the Cowboys behind Barry Sanders, who already has 184 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2.5 quarters. LSU now 5-2 on the season with a victory today over Ole Miss. And Tommy Hodson tossed 3 touchdown passes. 2 of them went to Tony Moss. This one covering 14 yards. That made it 31-14. Tigers hold on for a 31-20 win. Next week, LSU goes against Alabama. Michigan over Northwestern as they start the fourth quarter, 45-7. Wolverines looking very tough right now in the Big Ten, appear headed to the Rose Bowl. Number 15, Clemson, bouncing back today with a victory after a loss last week to North Carolina State. Rodney Williams, a touchdown pass. He also ran for 2 scores. William and Mary, not enough there today against number 18, Georgia. Vince Dooley wins his 198th game for the Bulldogs. Here's Alabama, 19th ranked in the country, leading in the third quarter over Mississippi State. 5-1 on the year, the Crimson Tide, yet Bill Curry just can't get away from distractors.
That's unbelievable that he should receive that kind of criticism. As a matter of fact, last week in the South Bend Tribune, the editorial pages, not the sports editorial pages, the regular editorial pages addressed that very thing, criticizing the president of Alabama for not coming to Curry's defense strong enough, and I think it was a justified piece.
I can't understand it. 5-1, he's going to be 6-1 today. Get off his back down there. It's only his second year, right, Coach? 33-9, David Smith has thrown 2 touchdown passes. And 20th ranked Oregon, trying to go for its first 7-win season since 1964, tied up 7-7 with Arizona State in the first quarter. And still ahead on this final Saturday of October, more gridiron results and highlights as the Prudential College Football Report continues here on CBS with scores from around the country. Welcome back to the College Football Report. In the Big Ten, Iowa and Indiana trying to stay in pursuit of Michigan in that race. In Indiana, behind quarterback Dave Schnell, he's run for a touchdown, thrown for another, lead Iowa in the second quarter. Michigan State, a winner today over Ohio State. The Buckeyes are now 3-5 on the season. Purdue and Wisconsin. It's homecoming at winless Wisconsin. That game has just started the fourth quarter. Badgers down a field goal. Iowa State and Colorado. What a job done by the Cyclones coach. His team, however, trailing by 11 as that game starts the fourth quarter in Boulder. Texas Tech and Texas. Now 3.5 minutes left in the contest, and the Longhorns lead behind a freshman quarterback, Mark Murdoch. He's thrown for 2 scores and run for 1 as well. BYU and New Mexico, and the Cougars shutting out the Lobos in that game. Wide receiver Chuck Cutler has caught a touchdown pass for the 8th game in a row. That ties an NCAA record. Also in the WAC, Utah and San Diego State. They're all tied as they start the third quarter. Duke a winner today. The Blue Devils now 6-2 on the season. Tech's last win in the ACC was 2 years ago. It came against the Blue Devils. They couldn't turn the same trick today. Maryland a winner on the last play of the game. Dan Plotky, a 36-yard field goal, wins it for the Terrapins, who are now 5-3 on the year. A battle in the Old Dominion State. Virginia a winner over Virginia Tech, and the Cavs are now 4-4. Temple pulls a surprise on Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights drop to 4-4 on the season as Temple picks up only its second win of the year. And Penn, the leader in the Ivy League, a winner today by 8 over Princeton. And when we come back, the coach will take a look at some of the special problems confronting the postseason bowl committees as they jockey to line up the most attractive matchups for their games. You're watching the Prudential College Football Report here on CBS, where the scores continue from around the country. Well, 3 weeks from today, the postseason bowl bids will be extended. Selecting the matchups is often a tricky process, and as Ara Parsegan reports, this year's schedule makes that job even more treacherous. Still, each bowl committee sets its sights on the same goal.
We feel that our obligation here is to have a game in which the winner of the Orange Bowl game is in line to be the national champion, and we have to predict that.
2 seasons ago, the Fiesta Bowl was fortunate enough to bring together the nation's top 2 teams, Penn State and Miami, both unbeaten independents. Last year, #1 Oklahoma played #2 Miami for the title in the Orange Bowl. But this year points to problems. The objective has always been to win a national championship, and certainly the right bowl game invitation could help enhance that. But the bowl game selection process makes that very difficult. Every bowl would like to have Notre Dame the highest-ranked major independent. But the decisions are made by mid-November before many of the key matchups are played.
The Orange Bowl position has been, if we could keep it on that Saturday near Thanksgiving, give us one more week, that a lot of these really terrific matchups are out of the way. We know exactly where everything is at that point.
On bowl bid day, Penn State can be a spoiler for Notre Dame. Likewise, LSU for Miami. Then after the invitations go out, Notre Dame and Miami face a pair of teams currently unbeaten with title aspirations of their own.
There are big games that take place after bid day. We know that. We go with the teams that we know win or lose we're going to want to have in our bowl game. And then we just buy popcorn and shakers, and we go out and root for them after bid day.
After the Penn State game, I believe that's November 19th, Penn State game for us that weekend, the last weekend before the end of the season, invitations will be extended, and clearly, as part of the system, we will accept or reject an invitation at that time.
But what about a rematch between the top 2 independents? Many fans would like to see Miami and Notre Dame pick up where they left off 2 weeks ago, while Miami would relish the thought, Notre Dame does not.
The truth of the matter is that game's already been played. The Bulls really don't want to rematch opponents that have met during the regular year, and we see very little value in that.
Ara, I've got to ask you, where is Notre Dame headed on bowl day?
Well, this is an educated guess. My crystal ball, in seeing what's happened today, Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl against West Virginia. Oh, my.
It looks good after what we've seen in the first half. A couple of quick updates before we send you back. Michael Jones has just scored from 5 yards out. Missouri leads with the extra point still to come late in the third. Texas Tech scores with 2.5 left, and successful 2-point conversion as quarterback Billy Joe Tolliver goes to Travis Price, and the price is right. 2.5 minutes left, and Texas Tech takes a 1-point lead in Lubbock. Coming up next, the second half between Penn State and West Virginia. Brent and Pat will have that action for you in just a moment. I'm Jim Nance, along with the coach, Ara Parsegan in New York. Thanks for watching the Prudential College Football Report here on CBS.
The Prudential College Football Report has been sponsored by the Prudential. Your Prudential representative goes above and beyond to meet your needs in insurance and other financial services. The Prudential, your rock in financial services.
We have come to Morgantown, West Virginia, and we have discovered this year's Beast of the East. And through the years, Joe Paterno has devoured one and all. He has hammered Eastern competition, winning 110 of 121 games. But last year it was Syracuse, and now, Pat Hayden, West Virginia clearly #1 in the East, at least until the Syracuse game. Why? What's happening?
It's wrong to call them a Cinderella team, too. This team can play, but I think it's recruiting. I really do believe that the schools, the Syracuses, the West Virginias, the Rutgers are chipping away at the recruiting. And remember, those schools have some pretty good head coaches. Neyland, Dick Anderson at Rutgers, of course, and Dick McPherson up at Syracuse. So once they get those athletes there, they coach them pretty well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Rutgers isn't the next to emerge here in the East. These schools have been willing to step up and spend money. That's been very...
CBS Sports presents college football. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Michelob. One taste will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob. UPS, we deliver to every address in the U.S. and to 41 countries worldwide. And by Shopvac Wet Dry Vacuums. If it doesn't say Shopvac, keep shopping.
It's 41-8, West Virginia, and the Mountaineers will kick it off to start the second half against the Nittany Lions with Gary Brown and Leroy Thompson set deep to return it. Thompson, 15, 20, 25, down at the 28-yard line. Short time ago, John Dockery caught up with Coach Don Nealon as he came out of the Mountaineer locker room.
Coach, in your wildest dreams, did you ever imagine a half like this?
Not really, John, but I'm smart enough to know we got 41, they can get 41. If they get 41, they beat us, so we're starting all over.
So he told them it's nothing, and let's go from there. And the Mountaineer defense out on the field, and we'll track this one now carefully for you. Missouri upsetting Nebraska, second half, 15-14. Oklahoma fans interested in that one. On first down, Sacco with time, gets away from Turnbull, scrambles, and steps out at the 30-yard line.
One of the biggest adjustments a high school quarterback has to make, and remember Tony Sacco was playing as a senior in high school just a year ago, is to be able to find that second receiver, because in college football the receivers get covered very, very quickly, and he's got to find a way to dump the ball off, avoid a loss.
David Daniels and Timpson go wide to the left. They'll run right straight ahead with Brown. First down for Penn State. Darrell Whitmore bringing him down.
Penn State rushing yards, really tough to run against this West Virginia defense. But remember, they've had to throw the ball a lot because they've been behind so much, and that's what the freshman Sacco faces. A big deficit. He's going to have to put the ball up, come up with some big plays.
Daniels and Timpson again to the left. Brown and Redmond are the running backs. Now they move Young, the tight end, to the left. Brown again steps inside, tries to follow a block, and he is down at the line of scrimmage with Chris Herring and a old Mays, number 49 and 3, all over him.
We have been calling Chris Herring's number all afternoon. He has done a sensational job of not crossing his legs, coming down the line of the scrimmage, and watch Herring, he's right in here. See how he's keyed in? Look at his eyes. Doesn't cross the legs, comes right down the scrimmage, fights off a block, fights off 2 blocks, and then makes the tackle. 5 tackles on the day for Herring.
Second and long. Sacco. Timpson couldn't hold it and went out of bounds with Whitmore, number 11, pushing him out of bounds here on the near side. That's the first half. 421 yards for the Mountaineers. 554 is the West Virginia record for a single game. Third down and 10 now. Timpson on the right side of Sacco. Pressure up the middle. Sacco flushed, trying to run out of trouble, throws it incomplete, out of bounds on the run. Not taking the loss of yardage, but there is a penalty flag down at midfield.
There's a flag on the play.
Will be against West Virginia.
That's that illegal participation call that we had in the first half. Did they try it with 12 defenders too?
Illegal participation, defense, 12 men on the field.
It's a very popular defense this afternoon in Morgantown. The old 12th man theme.
I love it. I love it. Again, what West Virginia is doing is coming with inside pressure by the linebackers and flushing Saka out, making him throw the ball on the run.
With a score 41-8, you really should be playing with 10. That's not fair. 1st and 10 now for Penn State. Ball is at the 45. Young over to the right side. Timpson and Daniels are the wide men for Saka. Saka rolls in that direction. Incomplete, and there's another penalty marker down at the 40.
I think once the tight end moves over on an unbalanced line, as number 80, Todd Young, did, he is an ineligible receiver. And he released and went downfield.
That's the signal.
Penn State has come out in this second half and run a lot of unbalanced lines so far. They'll shift the tight end over, but once he does that, he cannot go downfield.
Second half searching for a rhythm. Back-to-back penalties.
Ineligible receiver down the field. Offense. First down.
Ball is brought back to midfield. It's 1st and 15 for the Nittany Lions. 27 is Gary Brown. He's the tailback. That's Timpson coming into the slot on the right. They run and get to the 45-yard line with Thuron Ellis bringing him down, and Brown with a gain that will leave them with 2nd and long. Let's check in with Jim Nantz in New York.
Well, Brent, 5th-ranked Nebraska has moved back in front of Missouri. Chris Drennan with a 29-yard field goal puts the Cornhuskers in front. 44 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Nebraska leads. Let's go back to Brent.
A little order restored in that one, and here it's 41-8 West Virginia. Now Saka with time drops it off to Redmond, and the fullback is short of the 1st down as Thuron Ellis, number 66. He has been all over the place defensively for Neely.
And Ellis has done a great job of playing inside linebacker today. Number 66, he moved from outside linebacker a year ago into the inside, and that's a tough adjustment. Doesn't sound like much, but you have to be much more physical. Things happen a lot quicker on the inside, and he's one of the few guys who's been able to make that adjustment without much problem.
3rd and short. Redmond and Brown, the running backs, and Saka to put it up. Scrambling to the right, has time, incomplete. A great defensive play by Willie Edwards, number 47, a hometown boy from Morgantown. In very good coverage. A tough thing when a quarterback is scrambling is to be able to maintain the coverage, but Edwards, number 47, does a great job of knocking the ball away from David Jacob. Now Daniels couldn't hold on. Was it interference?
It looked like he may have gone through with the left hand before he knocked the ball out with his right.
Can't touch any part of that face mask, and it was close. 4th and short. Penn State trailing will have to go, and gas is short. And actually, Saka did not give it to the fullback. He was touchdown, and the Mountaineers take it over on downs.
A big play inside by number 25, Drumgoole. An option play with Saka. The first time we've seen Penn State run the option play. And this is what West Virginia did in the first half. Marvelous maintenance of their drives. You can see the touchdown, too. They're not kicking many field goals, getting the ball into the end zone and going a long way to do so.
Marvelous maintenance. Is that like pretty darn good? Harris rolling to the right now, being chased, and he is down at the 29 as Quintus McDonald, number 92, hauls him down.
Only the 7th sack of Major Harris this year, and Quintus McDonald is a guy who has really come on the last couple of weeks for Penn State. And today they're using him on both sides. Ordinarily he lines up over the tight end, but he's playing some to the open side today and made a nice sack there.
He's the leading sacker on this Penn State team, senior from Montclair, New Jersey. Well, there is an inactive right leg. Lance Carrion hasn't had to punt yet today. Now they hand off, and Brown blasts his way to the 34-yard line, and D'Onofrio, number 38, bringing him down.
Carrion's worried about getting a letter. He may not get one.
Harris waits for the play, being delivered by number 15, Lamont, one of his wide receivers. Win the tight end. Brown is the tailback. Taylor is the fullback. Bell and Lamont are wide. Harris stepping up. Down he goes. He tried to backpedal, and he slipped and went down. The ball being spotted at the 26-yard line. And this is the worst looking drive so far. And carry on onto the field for his first punt. 10-man front for Penn State. He'll hit it at about the 15, low. That's what inactivity will do to you. Out of bounds near midfield. Good field position for Penn State. So when we come back, they'll have the ball at midfield after a 25-yard punt. From Mountaineer Field, West Virginia stalking a national championship. Unbeaten and blasting Penn State 41-8. And here in Morgantown, this is the 7th game of the NBA Finals. The Phantom of the Opera, the Super Bowl, all wrapped into one. A new stadium record, 3,500 standing room only. And on first down, Leroy Thompson, the ball carrier for the Nittany Lions. And he makes his way near the 45-yard line. It'll be a second down for Penn State.
One of the players in on the tackle there was 47, Willie Edwards, and he's a guy I have some admiration for. One of those guys who's kept football in perspective. Came here to get an education, will graduate in May with a degree in psychology.
Saka over the middle, Timpson, incomplete.
One of the things that Penn State is trying to do a little bit differently is throw some shorter routes to take some of the heat off of Saka, because he was under some duress in the first half. And the receiver seemed to be running shorter routes. He's trying to dump the ball. That time, he didn't have much success, though.
Third down for Saka and Penn State. Timpson comes out to the right, and Daniels to his left. Rolling right and being chased. Deflected and incomplete. The ball was hit by Drumgoole, number 25.
And he hurt himself going down, and they have two strong safeties hurt now. Watch Drumgoole, who times this jump perfectly. This is an art in itself. The strong safety, again, sees that the ball is going to get over his head, but times it just right and makes a very athletic play. Comes down funny on his left leg and grabs his left knee. It had already lost Bo Orlando.
Orlando, one of their senior leaders in that secondary. Drumgoole stepped in last week against Boston College and did a fine job. And while he's being tended to, let's check in with Jim Nantz in New York.
Well, Brent, from 55 yards out, final play of the game, Texas going for the win against Texas Tech, but Wayne Clements misses the long-distance field goal, and Tech comes back from a 32-15 deficit to drop the Longhorns to 3-4 on the season. Let's go back to Morgantown.
Wild one in the Southwest. Arkansas, still the class of that conference and headed toward the Cotton Bowl. Now Helkowski to punt. And they run the fake this time with Collins, the linebacker. And he gets a first down for Penn State.
You know, Brett, the amazing thing to me about that, West Virginia was expecting a fake. They were not in a rush defense. Look how many guys are back. But it was just well blocked and then run well by Andre Collins, a linebacker who is a converted strong safety, so he has some speed.
Bobby Bowden sent that play up.
I'll always remember that play.
All of us will. We still haven't seen it. First and 10. Ball is at the 26-yard line. Gash and Thompson, the running backs. Saka, the freshman, behind the center. Thompson, here comes the end around. Here's Timpson inside the 20-yard line and down at the 19, hit hard by Robert Pickett, number 45. Joe Paterno with a little razzle-dazzle here.
Not a bad call when you're going into a score because a team has a tendency to overreact. They thought they could come up with a big play with Timpson, but some people on the backside stayed at home, and it didn't turn out to be a tremendously big play.
Trailing 41-8, Paterno opening it up. Fake punt. End around with his world-class speed. Gash and Thompson still the running backs. Saka to throw it. Going toward Timpson and over his head and out of bounds. He was covered by Mays.
And that's real good coverage by Alvord Mays, number 3. He felt the wide receiver was going to run the deep route and just ran right back with him and didn't give Saka any room to make the throw.
So Marshall, West Virginia, number 2 in Division I AA. They are unbeaten following the leadership of the Mountaineers in this state over Appalachian State, 30-27. Now third down and short. Here's Thompson. Stacked up. No hole. Couldn't find his daylight. It'll be fourth down for the Nittany Lions, and trailing 41-8. They'll undoubtedly go for it in this situation.
One thing about this West Virginia defense, they can afford to take some chances, blitz people, play man-for-man defense because their offense is so good and they put so many points on the board. It's a new philosophy for this defense. They'll really come after you with blitzes and man-for-man defense.
They have 2 yards to go against Neyland's defense. And the coach got the crowd going. Gash is the fullback. The toss is to Thompson behind Gash for the first down, and he's to the 14-yard line. Whitmore, one of the defenders, coming up to hit him. And Ellis also in on the stop.
Nice block on the left side by Jonathan, Eric Jonathan, number 74, who really led the way for Thompson to pick up the first down.
First and 10 for Penn State inside the 15-yard line. Jacob is 86, the tight end. Young is the other tight end. Saka off a play fake to Thompson. Wants Timpson. Throws to him, incomplete, and Whitmore is there again. That first-year player out of Front Royal, Virginia, with great potential.
And again, he does a real nice job of playing center field, reading the quarterback's eyes, and then reacting. He felt the receiver was open, waited to the last moment, and then made the burst to knock the ball away. That's a great play by Whitmore.
5'11", 178. Good size for the corner man, and that great speed that you look for. Second and 10 now for the Nittany Lions. This is Thompson to the 11-yard line with Pickett, number 45, hanging on.
Leroy Thompson carried the ball.
8 different players have carried the ball for Joe Paterno's Penn State team, including Wisniewski, an offensive guard, and a linebacker, Collins, and Timpson, a wide receiver. But still, they haven't been able to get the ball in the end zone much.
Redmond brings the play in. Daniels and Smith come to the right side. A slot to the right for Saka. Saka under pressure, steps away. Now being pursued, just does drop it off, and it is dropped by Brown inside the 5. And Saka was close to going past the line of scrimmage. So here at Mountaineer Field in Morgantown, West Virginia, West Virginia leading Penn State 41-8 with 6:13 to go in the third quarter, and a penalty flag down. It's going to go against West Virginia.
And it's been a game, very much a big place here, as they call the defensive holding against West Virginia that gives Penn State a new lease on life. So far in this game, it has been West Virginia coming up with all the big plays on offense.
Now that gives them a first and goal. Timpson, the slot man with Daniels. Redmond in front of Thompson. Thompson to the 3. Theron Ellis. Gonzalez, number 66, wrapping him up. Paterno trailing 41-8.
And Joe was upset there. He saw the big hole. He thought Leroy Thompson danced in the hole a little bit too long, and that's why he sent in Gary Brown.
He wants that toss play. Brown is the tail man. It's one of the base plays for Penn State. They've run it with great success over the years. You can close your eyes and think of the great names who've lined up in that backfield. The Lydell Mitchells, Blair Thomas. Thomas, of course, the star of a year ago in that comeback win over West Virginia. Injured and out for the season.
How about Franco Harris and DJ Dozier and John Capoletti? They've had some good running backs.
They've had some great players, period, through the years for Paterno. Just a marvelous tradition. Struggling right now, but remember the last time they won the national championship, before they won a couple years ago. They struggled for a couple of years before they reloaded. Here he comes, Brown, and he is hit down at the 2-yard line by Herring, number 49 from Pueblo, Colorado.
Brent, they may score here, but they need to score quicker to get back in the game. They've held the ball for over 4 minutes on this drive.
Chris Herring.
Third and goal.
Trying to get the right personnel onto the field. Smith hurries on. Gash is the fullback. It'll be 3rd and goal. Touchdown, his second of the afternoon for Penn State, and for the season, number 6. Another 2-point conversion coming up for Penn State.
Last time they sent a man in motion, tried to hit him quickly.
Activity continues on that Penn State sideline. Who had an injured ankle just limped off. And Redmond is back in at fullback. Timpson and Daniels are the wide men to the right. And here comes Saka. On the move, throws incomplete. Timpson did not hold it in the end zone.
Saka may have been able to run that one in, but here's the touchdown by Gash, number 11. Watch the center and the guard as they cross block, and another determined inside run by Sam Gash, playing on a very tender ankle.
So it's 41-14. 5 minutes left in the third, and we'll be right back. The reason why that 2-point conversion did not work for Penn State. Great play again by linebacker Chris Herring, 49. Watch behind him. He steps in and applies pressure, and Saka will throw it. Timpson at the other end probably should have caught it. It would have been a major league catch, but he had his hands on it.
Long scoring drive. Again, they're happy that they scored, but they just took too much time when you're down 41-14.
Penn State with the only score of the second half, and Atkins to kick it off. Napoleon is number 33, back there at the 4. Will they go for an onside this early? They take it deep. Napoleon at the 9-yard line, 20. And bolts to the 30-yard line. Downstairs to John Dockery. Doc, have you found John Denver yet?
Not yet, Brent, but I'm in the locker room. And, you know, Don Nehlen is a master motivator. All around the locker room, signs like this: concentrate, execute, and winning will take care of itself. Why? He's even gone so far as to enshrine the equipment from some of his former great players, like Darryl Talley, the linebacker, now with Buffalo, consensus All-American. You know, I asked one of his players what they thought about this kind of motivation. They said, you know, Coach Nehlen knows how to get our attention. Now back to you, Brent.
He is one of the best in the country. Surrounded by great football factories, if you will. He's done a job here. And Brown breaks free. Comes out to the 49-yard line. Chris Caesar finally got him out of bounds, a 16-yard run. How did Brown get free?
And it's staggering to me. He picked up a couple of nice blocks on the right side by Kovac and Smiter. But the staggering thing to me is West Virginia is averaging over 12 yards on first down. That makes it a lot easier game, believe me.
First and 10 for Major Harris and the Mountaineers. Penn State's offense dominating the clock in the second half. Taylor, the fullback, battling out near field. There's a penalty flag down. Face mask called, going against the Nittany Lions. Fran Giannetti coming up defensively. The ball is put down at the Penn State 45-yard line.
Defense, 5 yards.
It'll be a first and 10 for the Mountaineers. Jamie Lamont brings the play into the Mountaineer huddle. Taylor and Brown are the running backs. Rimbert and Lamont are the wide men. Wynn, the tight end. That's Lamont. This is Brown again. 30-yard line, down the sideline, cuts inside, and finally brought down at the 4-yard line. But there is a penalty flag now. Keith Karpinski was giving chase, but there's a penalty flag down back at the line of scrimmage, and they're bringing this one back.
Even though there was the holding call, what I like about what Don Nehlen did there was come back with the same play they ran of a play earlier with success. Right over the right side, over Kovac and Smiter, the right guard and tackle.
Holding, offense, first down.
Take a look at the center, Kevin Colkin, who's played very well all day today. He gets those hands inside and then wraps them on the outside. They call the holding there on Colkin.
West Virginia penalized 8 times for 74 yards here. 4:08 to go in the third. This the first and 20. Major Harris on the toss to Brown. Daylight down to the 45-yard line. And Karpinski, number 84, coming over to make the stop for the Lions.
And Anthony Brown picked up another nice block by his fullback, Craig Taylor. And he's one of those guys who is a great blocker because of his timing. He waits till he gets right near the defender, doesn't throw too early, and then he just explodes into his block.
Look at that scoreboard. Alabama and LSU are headed for that SEC showdown in Tuscaloosa next week. Second down. Harris fires hard to the far side, and a diving catch there at the 39-yard line by Rimbert. Darren Perry, number 9, with coverage for the Nittany Lions, and this JC transfer showing us the ability to catch the ball here this afternoon.
And we've seen him catch it up top on the deep ball, and this time the short pattern. But he's a JC guy, as you mentioned, who came in with all sorts of stats, but he's lived up to them. Got tremendous height to it, can really leap.
3 catches for 62 yards. He's out of Independence, Kansas, JC. 18 catches on the year, averaging almost 20 yards a catch. And on this third down, Harris with great time, and that time threw too hard and too high for Brown. One of the few balls we've seen him throw in that situation without much touch. And West Virginia forced to punt again. So the second half has been a little different than the first. Lance Carrion. He'll stand near his own 45-yard line, wearing that face shield. Hangs it high. Caesar at the 7-yard line. 33-yard punt. Horrible field position for Penn State when you come back. Glorious scene in Morgantown, West Virginia. Those beautiful hot air balloons floating over this stadium. largest crowd in history here, 66-8-11, and they watched Major Harris go 27 yards to make it 7-0. It was quickly 14 on a 40-yard pass by Harris. And then Bauman added a 24-yard field goal. It was 17-0. Harris again 49 yards to Phillips and a great catch, 24-8 when Gash took it in for the Nittany Lions. Then it was 31-8 on Taylor's 2-yard vault over the top before Bauman kicked his second field goal. It was 34-8 when we went to the half after Johnson's 55-yard touchdown run down the left sideline. Then Gash's second touchdown, 41-14. That's where we stand as Saka brings the Nittany Lions to the line of scrimmage at the 6-yard line, 1st and 10. Brown, and this is Redmond, the fullback, and he is out to the 8-yard line.
Real tough.
Herring again stepping in there defensively.
Again, Herring has done such a nice job of reading those inside guards, and the guards will tell you where the ball's going to go. He's done a nice job of following those guards and made an awful lot of tackles this afternoon. 8 on the day.
Second and long for Saka and the Nittany Lions. Smith, their lone wide receiver. Saka will throw it coming out. He wants Smith. Down the near sideline, intercepted. A tremendous catch by Mays. You can only play man-for-man defense if you have some athletes at cornerback, and West Virginia does. Mays plays this beautifully, reads the go pattern right from the very beginning, gives Terry Smith nowhere to run, and then makes a very nice catch. Mays leads this team in interceptions with 4, and he is out of Bradenton, Florida. That's a town not too far from Sarasota, Florida. On first down, here is Brown, and he runs to the 47-yard line, giving them second and short with Cesar bringing him down for Penn State.
The West Virginia running backs have had a field day today. Brown has carried 14 times for 96 yards, and Andre Johnson 9 times for 90 yards.
The Mountaineers have yet to turn it over here this afternoon against the Nittany Lions. Inside of a minute and a half left in the third quarter, 41-14. West Virginia has not yet scored in the second half. Here's Brown again. And he may have battled his way there at the end. Yes, he did for the first down with Rich Schoenwolf bringing him down for the Nittany Lions.
Rich Schoenwolf has come hard all day long, even though his team is down 41-14.
Ball put down at the 45-yard line. Markers are moved. Look at the state of West Virginia right there in the middle of this carpet. That's what that logo is right down there. Most unusually shaped state you'll ever want to see. Here's the give to Brown. He's inside the 40 with Andre Collins bringing him down.
And that offensive line really going to the forefront now, controlling the line of scrimmage.
Well, there's the logo and the state right above it. Now that, folks, is the state of West Virginia. They seceded from Virginia before the turn of the century. I guess way out there to the right, that's probably where Cabin Creek, West Virginia is. Actually, that's where Baltimore is. You know who's from Cabin Creek.
Jerry West.
Zeke from Cabin Creek. He's enjoying this, I'll bet, out on the West Coast. They haven't seen a football team this talented in these parts since the days of the great Sam Huff. That's the end of the third quarter. West Virginia 41, Penn State 14, and we'll return after this message and a word from your local station. action.
CBS Sports presents college football. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Toyota. There's quality. Who could ask for anything more? RCA #1 with the toughest critics in the world. And by Michelob. One taste will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob.
We start the final 15 minutes with West Virginia leading Penn State, and backup quarterback Greg Jones, number 7, who transferred from the Miami Hurricanes, getting loose because he figures to get some playing time in the final quarter. Right now, it's Major Harris with a 3rd and 3. And off a fake, rolling to the left, firing for the first down to the 27-yard line, and Jamie Lamont.
You know, Brent, as I watch Major Harris, I'm struck by the fact that there's just few offensive limitations with him when he's in your quarterback. You can drop back, you can sprint out as he did there, you can run play action, he can run the option play, he can be a power back. He is a very versatile quarterback.
1st and 10 for the Mountaineers at the Penn State 27-yard line. West Virginia has yet to score this half. 41 points in the first half. Here now is the toss to Brown. And he breaks another tackle and gets to the 28. Darren Perry, number 9, wrapping him up. Brown inevitably breaks that first tackle.
Well, he has those real big legs that we talked about. He has gets a lot of pulled hamstrings because of the big legs. But they feel he's a back. If he were healthy, he could gain them 1,200, 1,300 yards.
West Virginia's coaching staff working on the clock. Running the sweeps to the outside. Going to the option wide. Keeping it moving right now with a 41-14 lead. Major. Throwing for the end zone. Incomplete to Phillips. And on the play with the coverage with Cesar. Let's check in with Jim Nance.
Well, Brent, here's the story in Lincoln. Nebraska now leads by 8 as Chris Drennan drilled a 23-yard field goal. Missouri is 81 yards away with 1 minute and 36 seconds to go. The Tigers have the football on their own 19-yard line, trailing by 8. Let's go back to Brent.
And West Virginia fans enjoying that score. This team fell from 6 to 7. Nebraska, number 5, having to fight for its life. There could be an adjustment in the top 5. Runs that quarterback draw play up the middle, and he is down at the 22-yard line with Eric Rinke. Downstairs to John Dockery. Doc?
Yeah, Brent, I'm up here in the stands with Major Harris's parents, Sandra and Joe. Sandra, when did Major first start playing football?
When he was about 2 or 3 years old, just out of Pampers.
And what did you tell him when you were watching him from the window?
I told the older fellas, don't hurt my baby.
Well, certainly no one's hurting him today. Okay, now back to you, Brent.
Oh, field goal attempt right now. 39 yards by Bauman. Got the distance. It's good. 3 more for the Mountaineers. Harris's baby is well right now, isn't she? Who will succeed Tim Brown? Some of the leading candidates, certainly the leader all season has been the brilliant UCLA quarterback Troy Aikman. 20-6, the Bruins ahead of a tough Washington State team today. Steve Walsh, Miami winning again. Walsh a winner throughout his career, only 1 defeat. That was at the hands of Notre Dame earlier this year. And Barry Sanders from Oklahoma State, 320 yards today as Oklahoma State rolls.
Sanders has had a remarkable year.
Wait a minute. Where's Major Harris?
We're going to put him up there next week. Next week
I got to see my producer, Michael Burks. Get me the Major stats.
Next week, Major Harris gets in the box there.
You better believe that. Brown and Thompson back to return this Bauman kickoff. And he is banged down at the 32. How high will the Mountaineers of West Virginia be ranked on the NFL Today? Tune in at 12:30. Chicago at New England. The Bears take on Doug Flutie. Rams in New Orleans. The 5-star early. Phoenix and the Dallas Cowboys go at it. Atlanta and Philadelphia. You'll see Randall Cunningham. And Green Bay coming off that tough loss. Then late, there's the big one. The Vikings and the 49ers. Irv Cross went out to take a look at their quarterback situation, and we have a new quarterback for Penn State. Lance Lonergan of Westport. Hands off to Thompson. I should say Westport, Connecticut. I apologize that not everybody knows where Westport is.
You love those Connecticut players.
We don't have a whole lot of them. You know, we got to brag on them.
But Lance has been a steady player for Penn State over the years. He is a senior now, and the reason that he didn't play earlier, he injured his right thumb in practice several weeks ago, hitting it on a helmet.
John Jerick, number 34, you saw him in the huddle. O.J. McDuffie is the wide man. They bring Smith in motion for Lonergan. And Lonergan hands off to the tailback Thompson, who comes out to the 41-yard line. Clock is moving here. 12:15 remaining. It is 44-14.
You can't blame things on Tony Sacca, the tall man right there in the middle of your picture.
I want to say something about him, especially coming off of last week. That pounding he took from Derek Thomas and the Alabama Crimson Tide. He did not appear to be a rattled quarterback. He didn't fumble the ball. He didn't throw the foolish interception. He really took his licking and impressed a lot of folks in the way he handled adversity. Now it is 3rd down and short. Here comes Thompson wide for the 1st down across midfield to the 48-yard line. SC unbeaten and rolling. Nebraska in a dogfight over Missouri today. And Oklahoma big. Remember way back in the first, seems like years ago, that they were in trouble. Auburn, Florida, big one in the Southeastern Conference. And Oklahoma State rolls it up on Kansas State. Indiana big over Iowa. Remember when some folks thought Iowa was number 1 before the season began? Wow. 1st and 10. Lonergan complete to Smith over the middle, and he is short of the 1st down. Theron Ellis popped him, number 66.
You know, Brent, we began to talk about Lonergan. The coaches really like Lance Lonergan. He is a guy that's been around the system for a long time. They can do a lot more with him in the ball game because he has some experience. Doesn't have a big arm, but an accurate thrower.
Now, he is somewhat limited physically. He does not possess the great physique of Sacca, but he is very quick mentally. He was a superb high school quarterback at Staples High in Westport, Connecticut. 2nd and short. A fine baseball player, too. Here's Thompson taking the pitch. He's inside the 30-yard line, down to the 29, and Zippy Shearer, another hometown product here from Morgantown, bringing him down.
You mentioned in Lance Lonergan, it's interesting, Joe Paterno has won championships with quarterbacks who haven't been highly talented. John Schaefer won it a couple of years ago for him. Now he has a guy, Tony Sacca, a very talented freshman who's hasn't really had a feeling, doesn't know him well enough yet, doesn't know how to push the right buttons for Sacca yet.
And the one thing he's always had, great linebackers. This is linebacker U. Wrapped up at the 29-yard line. Thompson did not fool him. That was Dale Jackson, 93, getting him on him. Speaking of those linebackers, it's been their longtime assistant coach, Jerry Sandusky, over there on the far sideline. He joined Joe's staff in 1969. From Jack Ham all the way to Shane Conlon. Ham going into the NFL Hall of Fame this year. Now it's the Penn State offense, 2nd and 10. Pitches, and Brown to throw the option. Throws long and caught. Incomplete. Out of bounds. Smith was the intended receiver.
Gary Brown threw the option. It was the option pass. Catch it at either end. That thing had a weird rotation on it. And the free safety, Zippy Shearer, number 42, was not fooled. Again, when you're in a situation like this, your defensive coaches are telling your safeties to stay back. Don't give up the big play.
3rd down for Lonergan at Penn State. the fullback. Lonigan straight back. Brown the intended receiver, and it was incomplete. A great defensive play there by Basil Proctor, number 99. Third-year West Virginia player out of Miami. Let's check in with Jim Nance. Jimmy?
Well, Brent, with today's results, we can set the schedule for next week. Most of the country will see LSU visit Alabama. Both LSU and Alabama winners today, while those of you in the Rocky Mountain and West Coast areas will see Texas El Paso against Wyoming for the WAC championship. That's 2:30 Eastern time next week here on CBS. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, Jim, so we look forward to going down to Tuscaloosa. Donnie Bunch, number 1, has been one of the wide men. Lonigan back on 4th down in his face, gets it dropped off over the middle. And number 80, Todd Young, down to the 15 for a first down before Shearer can bring him down. And they were in Lonigan's face.
And that's a great play by Lonergan. Of course, they didn't score a touchdown. It was only a 10-yard game, but great courage by Lonergan. Number 66, Ellis, was right in his face, hung in there, and dumped the ball to his tight end, Young.
Now with a 1st and 10 for the Nittany Lions at the West Virginia 16-yard line. They bring Bunch in motion. Number 1 behind Lonergan. They hand to Brown. No daylight. Down at the 16-yard line. And Mike Fox, number 61 out of Akron, Ohio, bringing down Joe Paterno's back.
Look, Mike Fox, he's bleeding there from the forehead. He looks like he's going to make the All-Madden team maybe in a couple of years. But one of those guys who just plays real hard. Doesn't have a lot of ability, but plays hard every down.
Lou Codian, our stage manager, just exploded when I mentioned Akron, Ohio. That's where he learned how to play golf. On 2nd down, they run behind the left side of that offensive line that time and get to the 11-yard line. Gary Brown, the ball carrier, on the handoff from Lonigan. Now it's going to be 3rd down.
And there is a silver lining for Joe Paterno in this game, although they're getting beaten badly. The offensive line has done a much better job this week, Brent, I think, of opening some holes for the running backs.
They have to get inside the 6 for a 1st down. Off a play fake, Lonigan running to the right. He gets in. Lonigan scores a touchdown for Penn State.
And you have to be happy for guys like Lance Lonergan. He will never play a down in the National Football League. He dreamed of playing quarterback at Penn State. He's come from Westport, Connecticut, and gotten the opportunity and played well here when he's gotten the chance.
I can just hear all the boys exploding at Mario's. All of Lance Lonergan's fans who have been waiting for this ever since he went to Penn State.
And their 3rd 2-point attempt of the day.
7:44 to go. 44-20. Lonigan sends Smith to the right. McDuffie out wide of him. Brown and Sherrick are the running backs. Lonigan back over the middle, and he hits him for the 2-point conversion. Terry Smith out of Monroe, Pennsylvania.
Again, nice touch by Lonergan. He threw that ball through a lot of traffic. Let's take a look at the touchdown here, as on a 3rd and 6, he faked the boot, naked boot, showed the little speed and athletic ability, then he takes a big hit in the end zone. It's a nice run by Lonergan. And then the 2-point play. Watch all the traffic inside, a little slant route, throws it low away from the defender for 2 points.
There's still a lot of time, 7:44. We'll be right back. Auburn and Florida, the winner there will bounce in and make it a 4-way tie, and 2 great games coming up in the SEC. Next week we'll be in Tuscaloosa. It'll be LSU and Alabama with a championship now very much on the line in the next few weeks. Auburn and Georgia still with a big game. The rest of you next week are going to see UTEP, the University of Texas at El Paso, go into Laramie, Wyoming, and play those unbeaten Cowboys, ranked number 10. What a marvelous scene that will be. Here now, we We've got 7:44 to go. 44-22. Auburn ahead of Florida by a field goal in the second quarter. Well, I have a moment. I certainly want to thank the SID at West Virginia, Shelley Poe. She did a great job down here in helping us out with all our information. And then up at Penn State, Bud Thalman, the Associate Athletic Director in SID, and his assistant, Peter Kowalski, who's moving to Rutgers this month to become their SID. We want to wish Peter all the success in the world. Two fine schools going at it here this afternoon. West Virginia had everything their way in the first half, and now Penn State showing a little life. This is Napoleon, 20, 25, 30, 35. Downstairs to John Dockery. Doc.
Thank you, Brent. You know, there's a half a dozen Bowl Scouts here, one of whom is Mike Doherty from the Fiesta Bowl. And Mike, understatement to say that you're interested in West Virginia?
West Virginia is for real. They have a very exciting football team, and we're very interested in them. They're high on our list.
Did you imagine they were this good?
We've seen them 2 or 3 times before, and we knew they were this good. Some people said they might have a little light schedule, but no, they're for real. They're this good.
The ideal matchup, Notre Dame and West Virginia?
We would be very interested in that. If they both end up ranked very high, we'd be very interested.
Thanks, Mike. Now back to you, Brent.
Thank you, John. That was the new quarterback, Greg Jones, handing the ball off to Undra Johnson. Now, Jones is out of Miami. Johnson from just up the road in Fort Lauderdale. So now they turn it over to Jones with the prospect of a Penn State miracle. This shows you how much confidence they have in this young man.
Well, he's got a big-time arm, but with 7 minutes left, believe it or not, Penn State still can come back. 3 touchdowns would do that. A year ago, they came back with 9 minutes to go to win the game over West Virginia.
Here's the option. Jones down the line, pitching to Johnson. He got it behind him. That allowed Andre Powell, number 95, to whack him down.
Greg Jones, it's tough luck on this guy. He backs up Vinny Testaverde at Miami, transfers to West Virginia. At the time, Major Harris was redshirting, so he didn't know about him. Finds out that he's here and he's a superstar, and he's going to be sitting behind him for a couple more years.
Remember, Don Nealon told his team it's 0-0 at the half. If so, they're trailing here in the second half. Penn State's got 2 touchdowns, and West Virginia only a field goal. Time remaining. This the third down. Jones rolling to the right to throw it. First down at the Penn State 49-yard line. He hits Phillips, number 82.
We talked about him having a shot arm. That ball was a frozen rope to Calvin Phillips on the run as he rolled out to his right. That's a tough throw to get a lot of juice on it, but he did.
Phillips with a big-time afternoon. 4 catches for 114 yards for the Mountaineers. 2 wideouts to the left. Lamont to the short side. Evans for protection stays in, and Jones is down at the 40-yard line with Fran Giannetti sacking him. Number 85, the junior, gets in, and a big defensive play for the Nittany Lions, who are not quitting even though they were hammered in the first half.
And Frank Giannetti, they believe, he's only a junior, but they believe he is going to be a very good pass rusher. There he put a nice play on Greg Jones to put the stop and the sack on him, but he always comes hard. He's got a good outside move.
Remember who the first linebacker was at linebacker U? Dennis Onkotz. That's right. That's back in the late 60s. So many great defensive players since then at Penn State. Phillips in motion. Jones directly back under pressure again. Throws high because he was being pressed by you-know-who, number 75, Rich Schoenwolf, the junior from Philadelphia.
Again, I give these defensive linemen from Penn State a lot of credit because they are still down 44-22, but they are coming hard every play. Even on the passes, they're getting upfield. It's been a long afternoon for them, but there's no quitting them.
Now it is 3rd and long. 21 yards for the first down. Rimbert goes in motion behind Jones. And they'll run the draw with Napoleon. 45 down, maybe short of that first down. Oh, he's way short of it. I was looking at the original line of scrimmage, so they'll have to punt it away. Keith Karpinski and Mark D'Onofrio bringing him down.
And the leading rushers, you see A.B. Brown and Undra Johnson, really a strong 1-2 punch. Major Harris getting his yards primarily on the option plays. Remember, he had the 27-yard touchdown run off the option in the first quarter.
A 10-man front for Penn State. They'll come hard. Carrion gets it off. This is Smith back deep. Takes it on the big hop at the 15-yard line. Out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Lance Lonigan and Penn State will have the ball trailing 44-22 with 4.5 minutes to go, and we'll be right back. 44-22, West Virginia leading Penn State. 4:25 to go. The running backs, John Jarek and Leroy Thompson. Jarek is 34. Lonigan to replace Saka, again the quarterback. And he used the fullback with Theron Ellis taking him on. Let's take a little break here and present this week's Toyota Leadership Awards to those who've been singled out by the coaching for outstanding performance in the area of team contributions, academics, and citizenship. And today's winners are Steve Wisniewski from Penn State, a marketing major out of Houston, and John Stroya from West Virginia. He's a finance major out of Canton, Ohio. And Toyota donates a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's General Scholarship Fund. Second down and long. A little bit of razzle-dazzle, and Penn State is short of the first down.
There's O.J. McDuffie on the end around, the freshman wide receiver that Joe Paterno thinks very, very highly of. Again, trying to get any way to come up with a big play. The screen passes, the reverses, they've run fake punts. But again, the West Virginia defense has really been equal to the task today.
Joe Paterno needing 3 yards on this third down. He's outscored West Virginia in the second half, 14-3. Lonigan going complete, first down to Smith at midfield. A fabulous catch by number 8, Terry Smith, 5'8", 150-pound sophomore out of Monroe, Pennsylvania.
And a nicely timed leap. He was well covered by the Mountaineers. 2 men right there, but makes a nice jump at the right time. A lot of times receivers won't make the leap at the right moment, but Smith did there.
Darren Fulton and Zippy Shearer had the coverage. Paterno telling Smith, nice catch. Lonigan has the Lions in midfield. And off a good fake, Lonigan crosses the 45 to the 43 with Steve Grant bringing him down. 2:59 to go. Time working against the Nittany Lions. Let's check in with Jim Nance.
Well, Brennan, the Pac-10, number 1, UCLA sweating it out against Washington State. Rich Swinton has just scored for the Cougars, trimming a 27-6 deficit down to just a 7-point difference here in the third quarter. USC, 2 touchdown passes from Pete, 2 field goals, a 13-point lead, and Arizona State on top of 20th ranked Oregon. Back to Brent.
Thanks, Jim, and won't the ratings be something this week? 2:30 to go. Lonigan hands it off to Thompson, who battles his way inside the 40. He has a first down with Scott Summits bringing him down.
West Virginia has won so many games this year by large margins. It's allowed a lot of second-teamers to get a lot of action, and it's going to make them very good down the road in the fourth quarter, and a good team next year as well, particularly because they have Major Harris coming back.
We said to Joe Paterno, I don't know if we're going to see you in South Bend. We might be doing Oklahoma, Nebraska, and he said,
well, happy to have you guys not there. You bring us bad luck. Pat and Brent, he's 0 for 3 with us.
First and 10, and Lonigan off the fake, straight back. Throws, open, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Penn State. He goes back to Terry Smith.
And all they really need is the extra point here. They should go for 1, down by 21 before they scored.
They needed 3 scores.
No, it
doesn't appear that they have much time.
They're going to go for 2, and they're going to have to try the onside kick.
I should say enough time. It's 44-28. Now, there will be an onside kick very definitely at this point, inside of 2 minutes. Now, on the carpet, you can get that high bounce. They're going to to go for the 2 when all they needed really was the extra point and a couple of... Now, Lonergan is going to call a timeout. He looked at that defense. Pat, I'm a little surprised about the mathematics here.
Yeah, we said this long ago. They needed 3 touchdowns and 3 extra points to win.
Yeah, let's take a break and see what happens over on the far side. We'll be right back.
Bob Shaw, the defensive coordinator for West Virginia, was talking to his defensive team, trying to keep their heads up.
Hey, don't worry about it. We got to get the next play. I don't care about it. Say, if they go to unbalanced, get over here, let's go. They go unbalanced on us, we stay with our man coverage, except one guy's going to be what? Free. That's right. So you look for anything coming in.
Penn State deciding to go for the 2 in this situation. Lonergan 4 of 5 for 84 yards and a touchdown. He also has run for a touchdown. This is Brown, picks his way for the 2. Makes it 44-30.
And I don't understand the mathematics there, but nonetheless, they did get the ball in, and now they will have to try the onside kick.
Well, some folks will understand the mathematics. It's 14 West Virginia over Penn State right now.
Here's the 2-pointer. They came out and changed the formation after they went over the sideline and went from a pass actually to a power run into the short side of the field. And here is the touchdown that set that play up. Lance Lonergan, with some pretty good protection, finds number 8, Terry Smith, who's got very good speed and outruns the defense.
Now will be the time for the onside kick. And what you try to do on a carpet is to hit the ball a little bit higher than you normally would on grass. You try to get spin and a high hop and flood them down on one side to see if they can get a quick turnover. They've got just inside of 2 minutes to go. A 14-point West Virginia lead. At the half, it was 41-8. So a great tribute to the Penn State coaching staff in that the Nittany Lions did not quit here this afternoon in the face of a superior West Virginia team.
And Brent, talking about the onside kick, talk to any kicker or coach. The key is to be able to get 2 bounces, not just the 1. You need 2 bounces, then the ball pops up, and your team should be there by then.
Now Eric Eats, 99, onto the field for the first time for Penn State. He is better at the onside kick. So he has replaced Atkins. The scoreboard shows 3 timeouts remaining for Penn State. They are down to 2. Now watch the second line for the return team, how close they are. Wide receivers and running backs, you can see them there on the left side of your screen. You get the players with the best hands in tight. 1 deep man at the 5. Must go 10 yards. He chips it right over his head, and it'll be down right there by West Virginia at the 25-yard line. So next Saturday, we'll split the country. Many of you here in the eastern part of the nation will view a battle for SEC supremacy. 4 teams going for the title, and then out west you'll watch unbeaten Wyoming. How good are those Cowboys? You'll find out next Saturday on CBS. We know how good West Virginia is, but Penn State came right back at them here in the second half. 44-30 now. They're sticking with Greg Jones, the backup quarterback. They work Napoleon straight ahead out to the 31-yard line with Eric Rinke, 88, tackling him. And the clock stopped at 1:44. Now that leaves the Nittany Lions with 1 timeout remaining. And while we got a moment, let's take a look at a fine university, West Virginia, here in Morgantown. Pretty as a postcard. And certainly everyone on this crew has enjoyed the visit here to Morgantown. Right now, Jones brings the Mountaineers to the line of scrimmage with this second down. Ball at the 31-yard line. And they hand it off again to the tailback, and Napoleon breaks free. He's free at this field. He'll go for the touchdown. Napoleon, the third-year player out of Jersey City, New Jersey, salts it away. Bauman adds the extra point.
And Eugene Napoleon is the third-team tailback, but he is fighting just as hard as the first two teamers. He really should have been tackled after about a 5-yard gain, but again, he's got strong legs just as the two guys ahead of him, and then he's also got some great speed.
51-30. And coming up tonight on CBS, Dirty Dancing, Simon and Simon and West 57th. That's the lineup. Here in Morgantown, and the students now begin forming behind the left end zone. Folks, the goalposts will fall.
It happened in 1984, the last time they beat Penn State here.
Bauman to Brown. 37-yard line.
All spectators must stay on the playing field.
So we have come to the mountains of West Virginia. And now some careless individual tosses a smoke bomb onto the field and is quickly retrieved on the sideline. Smoke beginning to clear here at the left. And the PA announcer warning students not to go down on the field. And Joe Paterno, with that smoke bomb out there, has pulled the Penn State team over to the far side. He's talking to the officials.
He just wants the clock run now at this point, I'm sure.
This smoke bomb is causing a little havoc with the fans right below me.
It's absolutely ridiculous and silly that someone would do that. I don't know what the purpose of it is, other than it's a nice yellow. Goes with West Virginia's colors.
Well, the last time that any team scored 50 points on Penn State was back before the end of the war. Lonigan throwing complete. That was to Todd Young, his tight end, and Lance Lonigan has done a superb job coming off of Joe Paterno's bench. This is the most points that a Joe Paterno team has ever given up. You've got to go back to 44 and the Naval Academy when they had some great athletes there. Lonigan down the far side, and in the smoke and haze, it is caught again by Terry Smith.
And Lance Lonergan has really given this team a lift, fighting very hard right to the end. Good chance he'll get a chance to play next week against Maryland. I think both these coaches have a very difficult time getting their teams ready to play next week for different reasons.
1:11 left in the game. Penn State with a first down at the West Virginia 18-yard line. Jarek, and he battles his way down to the 12-yard line.
Wow, look at that.
Washington State is a good football team. Make no mistake about that. Is that game up in Pullman or is it Los Angeles?
It is in Pullman. And Washington State can score some points on people. UCLA has a pretty good defense. And Oregon State's not a bad team either.
Minute to go, 51-30. And timeout was used here by Penn State. That was their last one. And while we've got a moment, let's go to Jim Nance. Jim?
Well, Brent, another team ranked ahead of West Virginia struggling today is third-ranked USC. Here late in the third quarter, Oregon State's quarterback Eric Wilhelm fires the touchdown. Only a 6-point lead for the Trojans late in the third, 20-14. And again, number one, UCLA all tied up after an 81-yard touchdown pass, Tim Rosenbach to Tim Stallworth, John Stallworth's cousin, covering 81 yards, ties it with 12 seconds left in the third quarter. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, Jim, and the final minute here, 51-30. The students being forced back out of the end zone as Penn State comes down, attempting to put in still another touchdown. And Lance Lonigan has been extremely impressive here this afternoon. Under teeth of a rush, he throws incomplete. Now, McDuffie was cutting, but he didn't have any time, so he threw the ball out of bounds. That was Basil Proctor, 99, coming at him, and you can see some of the difficulty they're having in keeping the students back until the game is over, not allowing them out onto the field.
And you don't blame them. Great enthusiasm. At halftime, some of the students were saying we waited 30 years for this kind of game. And it's got to have some sort of effect on the polls, particularly with Southern Cal and UCLA struggling.
Now, Fan runs onto the field. They'll get him off. Exhibitionist will be cleared off the field. Lonigan will take the opportunity to get him back into huddle now, and they'll regroup and get ready to go. So if they just keep that enthusiasm in check now for another 57 seconds, let the players get off the field, then they can have it to themselves. But there's still some time, and Penn State doesn't want to quit firing. They deserve that.
You know, remember 1984, I think they had to call the game with 36 seconds remaining when West Virginia was winning for the very same reason.
Smith and McDuffie are the wide men. Deflected that time. Couldn't get the pass off. Mike Fox, 61, helped lead the defense against Lonigan.
Brent, I mentioned earlier, I think the biggest challenge these teams have is the coaches getting their teams ready. West Virginia goes to Cincinnati, a team they should beat, but you worry about the emotional letdown. And of course, Penn State, after getting beaten up badly the last 2 weeks, plays Maryland.
54 seconds, a fourth down for Penn State. Ball is at the West Virginia 12-yard line. Sherrick and Brown are the running backs. Lonigan tackled at the 24-yard line. Number 13 rolled on in. Tim Newsom came in and brought him down. And the students pour onto the field. And it is unlikely that the final 49 seconds will be played. And that's too bad, because the goalpost is gone in the left end zone. I mean, it's gone. And the Penn State players are going off the field, and it's just too bad. Let's hope that all the players get off. Down to John Dockery. Doc.
Coach, can you describe what this means to you and to the West Virginia program?
Well, this is a big victory, but you know, the game's not even over, and our students are acting kind of childish, if you ask me. But it's sad. I'd like to finish this game.
You're certainly proud of your team, though, the way they played.
Oh, they played beautiful. We lost our momentum the second half. We got so far ahead, nothing seemed to, you know, we couldn't get any rhythm back.
Well, congratulations to your coach. Now back to you, Brent.
All right, John, thank you. Joe Paterno has taken Penn State off the field with 49 seconds to go. The Mountaineers are still standing on their sideline. The goalpost on the left end zone is down. A couple of the Penn State players coming over to shake hands, and it is really too bad that the end of this fabulous afternoon is tarnished as a result of this. Many in the crowd, the sellout crowd here, are booing, and now Paterno wants his players in that locker room. And he wants them off the field.
Yeah, and Brent, he was upset in '84 as well.
You guys take care of the crowd, I'll take care of my team.
Paterno fighting for his players, making sure that none of his players are out there with the crowd, and telling the law enforcement officials to worry about the crowd, and he'll be concerned with his own players. And you cannot blame Joe in this particular situation. I know it's a great moment. They're really enjoying it, and it's just too bad that they kind of spoiled the end of this. We'll take a brief break and come back. 51-30 is our final score, and we'll be back to Morgantown in just a moment. Major Harris of West Virginia.